the presentation by Interim Director of Finance on department activity and organization. We're going to continue this item. The director was not feeling good, had to go home early. City Attorney report?
Yes, council met in closed session. With regards to public employment, we discussed the Chief Administrative Officer recruitment. We gave a status report. No reportable action was taken. With regards to labor negotiations with the Bell Police Officers Association and City Employees Association, that matter was not discussed. With regards to the litigation, Dexia versus City of Bell, we gave a status report in the litigation. No reportable action was taken. With respect to Bell versus BB&K, we gave a status report. Again, no reportable action was taken. With regards to Corcoran versus City of Bell, we gave a status report. No reportable action was taken. With regards to anticipated litigation, we discussed two matters. No action was taken. The council also had added People v. Rizzo to the closed session agenda. We gave a status report on that matter, and again, no reportable action was taken.
Thank you. We'll move to communications from the public. First speaker is Juliana Chico Sanchez. After Juliana Chico is Edith Tamayo. Hopefully I pronounced it correctly.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Juliana Chico y vivo en el 6920 Goodwell Avenida en Bell. Nada más quiero pedirles de favor ya que queremos un resultado de lo que están haciendo, porque esto ya es muy cansado. Tienen más de un año que no sabemos nada de una buena noticia. Dejen ya arreglar lo de las yardas, el logo y cositas que no tiene caso que estén tratando de arreglar. Entraron como pericos diciendo, el único que digo que iba a reducirlo, a tratar de que se redujeran los impuestos, el señor Néstor, y de ahí le siguieron los pericos. Todos queremos bajar impuestos y hasta ahorita no se ha visto nada. Disculpen, pero esa es la palabra, ni periquitos, pericotes. Pero para mentirnos, no hemos visto de verdad nada agradable en la ciudad. Solamente están luchando por lo que los pusieron, ¿verdad? Un contrato que en realidad nos está perjudicando. Queremos, por favor, que ya nos den buenas noticias, porque estamos cansados, ¿no? En vez de ir al doctor, estamos pensando, ¿qué va a pasar? ¿Nos van a subir los impuestos? ¿Nos van a subir los impuestos? Queremos una noticia buena, por favor. Si eso es su cometido, de que querían el contrato, ya lo hubieran hecho. No queremos verlos otra vez en los periódicos como los otros. Los otros eran descarados, pero ustedes les ganaron. Gracias.
Edith Tamayo.
Señores concejales, buenas tardes. Estoy un poquito nerviosa.
No, está bien, no se preocupe, toma su tiempo.
Es triste y penosa la situación que tenemos con ustedes hacia nuestros programas acerca de las yard sales, con la que ustedes nos dejaran y nos apoyan para extenderla a 4 al año. Ay, no sé qué escribí, sorry. Sabiendo ustedes las necesidades de la comunidad y ni así lo consideran ustedes para ayudar y apoyar, que fueron 4 al año, y con lo que concierne a los programas. Es una lástima de verdad que, mire, yo llevo a mi niño al béisbol y siempre que quiere algo de agua o nunca hay en la tienda, yo no sé ni dónde, en donde venden ahí, tienen que cruzar la calle para poder ir a comprar un refresco o algo. También en el programa de los señores, nunca hay staff, los señores, para darles un café o algo. Siempre están ahí, o sea, nomás, ay no, yo no sé, una ciudad. Ay, pues ya, es todo ya. Sorry. Pues yo nada más les digo que, pues de verdad esperábamos un cambio y las cosas siguen igual. Sorry.
Buenas tardes, Iris, ¿cómo estás? Lo que tú estás diciendo, ¿estás a favor que se suba más de 2 al año?
Es que la están poniendo en 2, ¿verdad?
Está en 2 ahorita.
Ujú.
Queremos unos queremos 4. ¿Eso es lo que estás a favor o en contra?
A favor.
Ok, gracias.
No. There's no reason. If you want to talk in favor or against something, you'll have the opportunity once we get to the public hearing. No need to clap. I can have a big line of everybody that wants to support it or not support it, but let's wait until we get to the public hearing. Marcos Olivas. After Marcos Olivas is Sandra Orozco.
Good evening, members of this council, mayor, Mr. Mayor, staff, residents. I really did wanted to say something tonight, but after hearing one of the residents here having problems trying to communicate with you, it's basically the change that is expected to happen. That's what a lot of us are still waiting to happen, to see that. And I totally understand that there's a process to be followed here, a process that we started some year and a half ago with the election and the removal of the ex-city council members. And again, patients are running out, and patients are getting to that point that people are claiming more. I know it will take time, and I'm still supporting you guys since I've been here every night and every meeting that we've been having. And I understand there's a process. And as I see this agenda, again, it's and some of these items that I wouldn't even mention anymore, it feels like we're going in certain circles and items that we shouldn't be focusing on, but moving forward. But once again, I understand it's a process. There's a foundation that needs to be set here. And hopefully also residents just like me understand that there needs to be a little bit more patience before those results could be seen. But again, it's patients are running out for our taxes, for things that we need relief on, and hopefully we'll see those results soon. That's what I'm hoping, alongside a lot of my neighbors and friends. Again, good night and thank you.
Thank you. Diane Olivas? Sorry, you can go before.
Okay, hi members of the council and mayor. I just hearing a response right now from one of our residents that came in here and said about taxes. I think Henry made it very clear to all of us. I don't know if this individual was here or not, but he basically said our taxes are not going to go down. They're not. And to blame 4 council members and praise another council member is unfair, because as I recall, there's 5 of you. And Arnie simply said, our taxes are not going to get any lower. Not now, and not for a few years. So no property taxes are going to go down, so just realize that. Going to agenda item B. Once again, it's another proof that we continue going in circles. Wasting time, tax dollars, and most important of all, we are not advancing in reform. There are plenty of issues, important matters, that require your attention. Once again, and I said at last council meeting, that it's obvious that the council member that requested this agenda item continues to show his deceiving intentions by refusing to follow a process that the 5 of you that were elected by councils agree upon. Not 1, but 5. So we go in circles, and it just continues to this. You guys just continue to not stay focused on where we need to go. And it's sad. It's sadness, sir, that you continue with this item is when all of you guys agree on a process, step by step. Then we could go to the next step, and then you guys could go ahead and proceed in the other direction, which is fine. But once again, we ask the 4 council members to hold off to go to phase 1 proceedings until the Cutting negotiations are finalized. proceeding with phase one would just lead to a perception that City of Bell is not serious about the police services contract with Cudahy. Nevertheless, Cudahy might lose faith in Bell as his commitment to provide police services for its community. Council members, the 5 of you were elected to advance and reform, and I go in circles, and the patience are running out. It's your responsibility to act in good faith for the best interest of the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sandra Orozco. After Sandy is Ismael Morales. After Ismael is Nora Sainz.
My name is Sandy Orozco. I live at 4108 East 54th Street in the city of Maywood, temporarily a resident of the city of Bell. I'm here tonight again and thanking the council, especially Mayor Lee, for the proclamation for Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. Because of that, I've been through every local city government and gotten proclamation. My last one was last night in the city of Cudahy, so I do thank you, Mayor Salee. Now, going with item number 9, we seem to go around in circles on this item. It's a waste of time. Every time, as Diane states, that we keep going around in circles on this. We do have a process, Valencia, and the process which you all agreed upon was the negotiations with the Cudahy contract, and that's still ongoing. Although there's rumors that are going around that the Cudahy contract has dropped, it has not dropped. It's still in negotiations. I don't understand why we're going over for phase 1 for the LA Sheriffs. You know how I feel very strongly with the Sheriff's Department. We have them there in the city of Maywood. So not the same response, I say it again and again. Until you get a taste of what the Sheriffs is all about, when they roll up to your home, was maybe within 45 minutes when you call them, maybe not even show up at all, and the attitude. That being said, I had an emergency call last night, as you know. Ambulance responded, the Bell PD responded, and they did a fantastic job. And you see the same face. Now, when you call the Sheriff's Department or deputies, they will have a different face all the time and they don't know who you are. So let's stop and let's focus on one thing and one thing alone, and that's the Cudahy contract, and hopefully the Bell PD will stay in the city of Bell. Not like former Maywood Police Department was dismantled. I would hate to see that with the Bell Police Department. I thank you so much.
Thank you, Ismael Morales. After Ismael is Nora, After Ismael is, all right, Nora Sainz.
All right, good evening, council. On item 4 and 5, I think that you guys should take that off of the consent calendar. Anything that deals with money spending issues should be always taken off consent calendar, especially item number 5, which is preparing for the citywide assessment districts, which means it's spending money to the city engineer so he can prepare a report as to if we need to increase taxes or decrease them or keep them the same. So I say take them off, take off 4 and 5. Number 6, I believe there is a public hearing for that. Item number 9, and I know some people in this room are not going to like it, but bear with me here. I think I do support a phase 1, and let me tell you why. It is opening up options. We need options here. It is not because I'm against the Bell Police Department. It is not because, and I know some of you have that perspective, that wrong perspective that I am anti-Bell PD. No, I'm not. But people see it as a threat. It's like a threat saying, oh, well, we're trying to get the shit. No, it's not. It's just a study, no cost to the city at all. You guys should take advantage of that. It's very obvious that we need to not only just reach out to the sheriffs, but to other cities. Has the city done that? Has the committee done that? That's a question. You don't need to answer that. In terms of police services to the city of Cudahy, I believe, I think that Cudahy has a lack of transparency in their government. I went to a city council meeting yesterday in the city of Cudahy, and it pretty much, their council meeting went 40 minutes long, and they didn't, and I don't know if they have talked to their people as to, or gotten a sense of what they want in their police services. Do they want to keep the sheriffs or not? Have they talked to the people? That's a big question. It's always the people. If they're not doing their jobs, then why are we going to deal with a government that is not transparent? That's the thing. So think about that. And let me just say a few remarks. I know that it's a that we're going in circles, but you know what? It's a healthy discussion. And I know if you say that, if those people that say, okay, the community, what kind of community are they considering? The 36,000 people, or maybe the 40 people? Is that a community? Question that to yourselves. Are they maybe because they're helping out a police union to get their contract and raise their salaries? I don't know. That's the thing. So I'll conclude on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Nora Sainz?
My name is Nora Sainz, 6251 Woodlawn Avenue. I'm here to speak on a few agenda items. I am going to agree with Ismael Morales where anytime we are making a decision as far as spending money, I think that needs to be removed from the consent calendar, being that the newly reformed city council has only been here less than 2 years. The fact that we moved on to a consent calendar, I think that's a little bit premature. That's how the old council used to get a lot of things by the residents. So number 4 and 5, I agree, should not be part of a consent calendar. The other one is number 8, where we are talking about spending close to $1 million on containers. I know that's part of the sanitation fund that the city has, but the fact that we're gonna put that money towards that, I think if anything, if residents were overcharged, maybe that money should go back to the residents rather than spending that money on containers. I firmly believe that whoever we contract the trash services, they should be the ones responsible to provide those containers. The residents should not be paying for that. Now, I'm going to go on to subject number 9. I think that, people here are talking about why are we doing a phase 1? Why do we want a phase 1? The fact that we had our officers, and no offense to any of the officers, trying to conduct a phase 1, that's like me going to Honda and asking for a price quote on the BMW. If you want to get the facts on the cost of the sheriff's department, you don't go to your local police department. You contact the sheriff's department to get the real facts. This right here, it's a guesstimate. We don't know exactly what the sheriffs are going to cost until we get them to come in-house, which is 0 cost to the city, and let them do their analysis. Thank you.
Carmen Bea? After Carmen Bea is Trina Corrado. After Trina is Jose Moreno.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Miren, tenemos año y medio y seguimos con la misma canción de mi vida, la pura policía. No hay día que Sandy no venga aquí y hable de la policía. Ustedes tienen la obligación de estudiar bien. Si nos quedamos con los oficiales, yo creo que todos son bienvenidos. Y si vemos nuestro bolsillo y queremos otro, también está bienvenido. ¿Por qué? porque tenemos que trabajar, porque desgraciadamente, como les digo, si fuéramos bonitos no necesitábamos policía. Pero en fin, miren, ayer fui al meeting también de Carají y hablé con el asistente, el segundo mayor. Bueno, el señor me dijo que están discutiendo todavía, pero según yo vi en el periódico, dicen que ya habían hecho un contrato con los sheriffs, pero que todavía estaban eso. Entonces, en lo que son peras o son manzanas, nosotros siempre estamos aquí pidiendo algo y ustedes no responden. Eso es cuestión de la policía. Y de los garage sales, yo considero que mucha gente necesita el dinero para pagar su agua, su renta. Hay señora que me paró el otro día, dice, mire señora, lo que me dan a mí el gobierno, imagínense, yo hago mis yard sales y ¿sabe lo que me dijo la señora esta vez que la vi? Que había hecho nada más $10. Entre $10 que le da la ciudad, y pues no es nada, no es negocio ni de sacar las cosas, hombre. Pero aquí hay cierta persona que dice que se ve como Tijuana. Bueno, pues será donde, no sé dónde, pero aquí, no nomás Tijuana, aquí tenemos mucha necesidad en Estados Unidos, mucha necesidad, lo que nunca se había visto en Estados Unidos, yo lo veo ahora. Así que hay que ponernos nosotros mismos a trabajar juntos para mejorar espiritualmente y también nuestro bolsillo. Ya más eso les quiero decir por ahora porque hay que ver un mañana mejor. Y yo creo que ustedes tienen 1 año y medio y este mañana todavía no lo veo. Estoy todavía en el amanecer.
Gracias. Trina Corrado. After Trina is José Moreno.
Good evening, Mayor Saleh, council members, and staff. My name is Trina Corrado. This agenda item number 5 should be on the public hearing portion of the agenda rather than the consent calendar. I believe it is a little controversial when it potentially has anything to do with raising taxes in Bell. It should be up for discussion, even though this is just the $8,000 preparation cost for the report to the engineer to submit a tax raise. Item 9, this should not be on the agenda while we are still trying to contract our services to the city of Cudahy. Once we finish those talks, then you can move on to the other talks. That being said, as I stated before, but I have found that when it comes to estimating costs for building something new, it looks great on paper, but translation in real time isn't always the same. But in the cost summary part of the report, it considers the current level of service and projected cost. And to go with the sheriffs would only have saved the city about $1,030,000. And don't forget the startup cost of $500,000, which brings the savings down then to $530,000. The auxiliary services supplied by the sheriffs that go beyond the contract are extra costs. We will then be billed in addition to the contract. Secondary costs like helicopter services would then be billed to us. Right now, we are not charged for this service. Station house operating costs, overtime, detail, billed to us, etc., etc. All we do is hand over our existing equipment to them. Now, it looks like it might start costing more than what we're paying now. Too many hidden costs for us, for me to feel comfortable with. Remember, we do have the ability to generate more revenue with our own PD, not only by contracting our services to other cities, but we could reinstate the 2 motorcycles and motorcycle officers to generate citations. Just on Gage and Florence alone would bring in a lot of money and make the streets safer for us drivers and pedestrians. Rent the jail, rent the K-9 team, look for more grants. By going with the sheriffs, we would lose all grant money that we get now. We would not be eligible anymore. Our programs like Neighborhood Watch, Explorers, Volunteers in Policing, etc. will be affected. Run the PD as a successful business. Make the payroll, so to speak. If we need to cut, cut, but utilize what assets we have to the highest potential. Put our energy into improving. Quit wasting time fooling with bringing in the sheriff. No revenue, no control, no clear lines. And I'm hearing unflattering press reports on them lately. They're not the perfect answer. Rizzo made sure to undermine the Bell PD for his own schemes. Don't follow Rizzo's lead. Make our PD better and concentrate on that instead.
Thank you. Jose Moreno?
And to that, I said, bologna. First of all, good evening, everyone. I'm going to remind you again, challenge you. If you are really transparent and if you really care about us, resident property taxpayers, put the charter on the ballot. Put the 10% users fee on the ballot. I challenge all 5 of you. Don't be afraid. If you really care, you want to bring the taxes down, put those 2 things in the ballot. If you're afraid and you don't want to do anything like that, you're not going to do that. So I'm challenging you to do that. And don't be afraid, or should I say cowards. Let the people decide, not the 300 people that voted for the $50 million of that Proposition 8, which we already owe so much money. Also, I challenge you to find ways to have at least between a 10 to 20% reduction in salaries across the board, okay? Also, reforms in the contribution to the pension so that the people pays more, they contribute more to the pension fund, to their health insurance, they pay more, the employees, they pay more. Also, they should at least, because what they pay right now is very little, okay? And we, the residents, are paying a lot. That's not fair. Also, on item 5, again, this is just my personal opinion. Any assessment or levies, come on, guys. Come on, be smart, okay? I challenge you. We can't take it anymore on the pocketbook. We don't have the money. If anybody has the money, fine. They can come up here and sign that they're going to pay for whatever you're going to assess us or the levies you're going to put on us. Also, I'm going to say this. Almost $1 million in wasting the money on trash cans. If we get a rubbish company, they're supposed to supply to us everything, even the trash cans. Why are we going to spend $1 million? That money should be returned to us. It was taken from us, okay? And again, I remind you, okay, I have nothing but respect for the chairs and for the persons that you represent us. But if you don't do those things, and this is on the record, I hope it's on the internet and everything is recorded, I challenge you, don't be cowards, okay? And I'm telling you, as council persons, not as regular resident persons from the city, okay? Nothing against us residents like me, no problem. But you're in the power seats, so I'm challenging you to not be cowards, okay? And do something about it, because we are sick and tired. I cannot afford to pay my taxes anymore. Everything is very expensive. And also the properties, what are you going to do to replace the taxes that you get for the city of Bell from the properties that have lost 50% of the value? What are you going to do? How are you going to replace it?
Thank you. Hilda Rodriguez. Gotta get us some new seats, Arnie. These are not very powerful.
Good evening, everybody. Today, I am happy, very happy, and I want to share with all of you what is the reason that I am happy. And my sister is visit us for 6 months. She has permit for United States to stay in United States. This is the reason I'm happy, and I don't want to fight with no one. But what I no agree? I no agree in the point 9, or 8, I'm sorry, 8, about it, to spend close to $1 million in container. Do you know that is too much? And what the other people say, let the company pay for that, sweetie, please. It's $1 million, and we needed that. That is, I know I agree. I know you you understand. All of you was elected because you are very smart. I believe in you, all of you. The second thing is about the jar. Please, our community suffers from many things. How do you cut the jar sale to 2 plus you request a letter for the manager to the rental people for do a jar sale? What is that, sweetie? That look to me like no democracy. What do you limitate? What is that? That is not right. Do you that with the people that rent? After you reduce the garage sale, ask for letter from the manager. No. American is for us. Most of the us, we are immigrants. And we lost the liberty. And we come in here for many reasons. Let the people live in peace. The only way that we win is to be together. This is my point. Someone else sometimes tell you that offense is not my style. This is not right. Because all of you, in my best knowledge, try to do the best. If you can do it, well, we see. Sometimes it's not easy, the position that you have. I accept it. But please, be generous. Be like your mother teach you to be excused to people when they offend you, and try to save them, because we have too many problems. Before I talking to you about the 10%, it's true. We pay 10% for any services. Do you know something? For many years, after I retired, I'm sorry, sweetie, I am a little longer. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. But after I retired, after 6 years, I am looking employee. Do you are discriminated because I am older? I am 72, 73. No crea that I bike. I am 73. The people discriminate because you consider you are older and you can respond to the job. And it's not true. All the people, for me, is the more value that America has. If we needed to consider in this city a place where the senior people can participate, not in lottery, they don't teach nothing. People that come into the community and they teach what they have or what they learn. This is what I wanted, a local that senior people coming and show you how many value, how many things he learned in life. Thank you for listening to me, okay? Bye, sweetie. I love all of you, okay? All of you. This is, we need it, love. We need it, stimulate. We need it, that. It's the only way that America be up. When we learn to pardon, when we learn to love, and we learn to think in another. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very
God bless
much.
you.
Likewise, thank you. George Mancia.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Members of the City Council, my name is Jorge Mancilia. I've been around on the city of Bell for more than 30 years working on investment. The reason my visit is for the Ordinance 1146 and Section 10.28.190 is overnight parking facility. That was reviewed in July 2002, that means 10 years ago. In that ordinance, nobody can park between the 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. for more than 30 minutes. Over that time, the police, they will give you a ticket. I understand that one of the major goals of the new city council and the new administration is bring back the trust and the prosperity to the city of Bell. It's aware that the majority of the houses and apartment buildings in these areas were built between 1940 and 1950. In those years, the amount of cars and residents was different than today. All the owners of apartment buildings and houses has the same problem that me, parking. For the 2-bedroom, we have 2 parking, but for the 1-bedroom, only 1 space. If we rent to the couple, they have 2 cars. They need to go to work. One of the major problems is when the tenant moves from the apartment. We lose about 80% of new tenants for that ordinance. They say to us or to the manager, they prefer to move to other city, and the apartments is empty for long time. I hear a lot of reason why that ordinance is enforceable today. Garage conversion, that is better for the police that the street will be empty during the night, and so on and so on. This morning I was driving in the beautiful shopping center behind this building. I got a big surprise. I started counting the number of vacancies, a total of 14 spaces. The owner, I don't think, will be very happy with that amount. If in some way we can bring more residents to the city, they will spend there is money in local business. To conclude my time, I will request to the City Council take a good look and review the ordinance, plus to hold a public hearing so they can do the best for the city, business, and residents. Gracias for the time and the future attention of this ordinance.
Thank you. Jason Gondola. After Jason is Donna Gannon.
Hi, my name is Jason Gondola. My address is 733 Hendry Avenue, Inglewood, California, 90301. I was a resident in your city some time ago. During this time, my vehicle was stolen, property was stolen, military equipment was stolen, and your police officers did not make the right judgment call. To this day, I have damages. I am having a bill put against me. I'm underwater. I am in debt to somebody else because my equipment was stolen along with my vehicle. This person is no longer just affected me. He has done this previously to me, to another person, has now done this to yet another person after me. This person has lost their job, their career. This person is a criminal. There's a lot of torts that your city is responsible for. And I can no longer try to talk to your police department, talk to the then council. I know that the city has changed. I know that there's people who have changed. I can no longer stand this person or these damages against me, and it's just too much. I think that it's the best interest in the city and the residents that somebody does go ahead and take the time to sit down and talk with me, because if you guys do not take my my speech seriously, I believe I've exhausted every avenue. This is my last chance to try to resolve this civilly. I will go to civil court. I will not go in detail here, but I throw my hands up. There's nothing else I can do. My property was stolen, everything. I've lost wages. I've been humiliated by your police department. At that time, when my vehicle was stolen, there was a false arrest made. Battery charges were put against me. During the time while I sat in your lockup at that time, the guy actually wound up towing my vehicle. He just wound up towing it. I have over here all documentations at the time. I have other federal officers and sheriffs saying that the vehicle was mine all up to 2009 when he committed forgery and such. I can no longer take this. My phone number is 310-484-3716.
You do not need to say your phone number. If you do me a favor.
Well, it's fine. I have no problem. I think somebody should address it. I'm done.
If you do me a favor, if you can speak to our new chief of police, and he will report back to the council with details on all this, and he'll email all the council on anything that they need from our end. And I apologize for whatever it is, but we'll let the chief speak to you, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Donna Gannon. After Donna Gannon is Ignacio Marquez.
Okay, I have
wanted to talk about the police department contract. We are working under a Rizzo contract, and we swore we were going to clean up this, the wages on all the employees, and I believe that it also includes the police department. I went to Bell Gardens, and I got a contract from Bell Gardens, and their salaries are about the same as ours, but they have the bicycle club. And then they put in their contract to protect themselves by putting Article 33, Section 6. The parties agree that the agreement may be reopened only on issues of pay and benefits should the bicycle club be closed down, or if the revenues to the city drops more than 10% from the corresponding month in previous years. And they have dropped. That was in 2009. This was a contract up to 2011. So they were giving their police department 5% raises like we were. But because the bicycle club lost a lot of income and paid a lot less taxes, they lost $1.5 million. Okay? So then they went and they opened up renegotiations again, and they couldn't give them a raise. So far from the person I talked to in Bell Gardens, because I wanted to find out their formula, they haven't received a raise in 2 years. Also, in their contract, the gal that I talked to, she believes in flat fees. We have percentages in our contract, which is killing us. The part on the education, we pay 75% of their education at the colleges, which she told me at Long Beach State University, it's $3,000 per semester, which if you go all 4 semesters, that's $12,000 in a year. And Bell Gardens only pays a flat fee per fiscal year of $1,500, which is a savings compared to us is quite a large amount, because we're paying $9,000 for their 75%. Also, they have differentials described in their. They have no differentials on their education. We have a percentage that goes across 5% each year. You get 5% raise. But when you go down on the AA, you get a 5%, then an 8%, and then a 10%, and a 12%, all the way from AA to masters. They have, on an AA, instead of 5%, they have a 2.5%. And on their advanced post, we have 8%, they have a 0.5%. Or no, they have a 5%. Then on their bachelors, we have 10%, they have 7.5%. And on a master's, we pay 12% and they pay 10%. But the secret to their formula is that every time they are able to, it's like getting a $5 interest on $100. You have $105. The next time you get interest on that $105, and it keeps growing and growing and growing, but not in Bell Gardens. You get a flat fee there for your education. You graduated, okay, here's your money. That's the way I'm reading it. I talked to Arnie, and he said he'd investigate it. It is online in Bell Gardens. They have this contract online, and they have the salaries, which I use the formula on.
Thank you. Last speaker is Ignacio Marquez. There's some other speakers that want to speak on the yard sale. Those will be able to speak in the public hearing time. When it comes up, you can speak beforehand.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Hoy se me va a dar la gana de hablar español, porque parece que ya el inglés como que ya no me lo entendieron, o seguimos hablando y repitiendo lo mismo. Esto del sheriff y de la policía ya parece una rueda. Dani, Violeta, Ali, parece una rueda porque le damos vueltas y vueltas. Tenemos que frenar y parar esto, tenemos que llegar a una solución. Ha sido 1 año y medio que le estamos dando vueltas a este asunto. Debemos de buscar, de nuevo lo vuelvo a repetir, porque les digo que es una rueda que le damos vuelta. Yo no sé de qué tienen miedo o a quién le tienen miedo, Dani, Violeta, Ali. Y Néstor o la otra concejal. Quintana, ya. So, yo no veo mucha gente aquí como antes, no sé si ustedes se acuerden, porque estuvieron acá atrás, cómo había de gente, por lo que estaba pasando aquí, ¿verdad? Yo no sé si tengo una idea equivocada, si estoy correcto o incorrecto en esto. Yo pienso que toda esa gente que ya no está atrás, está en la casa viendo novelas o películas, porque pensaron que eligieron a los concejales correctos, que iban a hacer lo correcto por ellos, y ya están ahí descansando tranquilos, mas no saben que la cosa sigue igual o que estamos en las mismas o peores. Tenemos que llegar a una solución a este problema, pero tenemos que hacerlo, no podemos seguirle dando vueltas a esta rueda. Busquen, Violeta, Dani, busquen lo que nos convenga a los residentes, a nadie más, a los que vivimos en la ciudad de Bell, a los que pagamos los impuestos, a los que pagamos los taxes. No se fijen en la gente que hay aquí, fíjense en toda la gente que está en sus casas ahorita, que reside aquí en Bell. Vean por ellos, no vean por el sheriff, no vean por la policía, no vean por el manager, por el abogado. Vean por ellos, por esa gente, por favor.
Bien dicho.
Pero tenemos, sí, bien dicho, pero tenemos que hacerlo. No podemos seguirle dando vueltas a este asunto de la policía y del sheriff. ¿Cuál es el problema que vengan el Phase One? Yo no miro ningún problema. ¿Por qué no se encarga aquí el manager de la ciudad en hablarle y decirle, ¿sabes qué? Queremos un Phase One. Vamos a ver. ¿Vamos a perder dinero, Ali? ¿Ali? ¿Vamos a perder dinero si viene el sheriff a darnos un Phase One?
¿Vamos a perder dinero?
Ya. No, ¿verdad?
No creo.
¿Cuál es el problema? ¿Por qué nos detenemos? ¿A quién tenemos miedo? ¿De qué tenemos miedo?
Le aseguro que miedo, no cuente con que el miedo está del lado mío.
Pues demuéstrenlo.
Pero espérese hasta el final de la junta, espérese para que vea qué es lo que va a pasar.
Ok.
Y venga a todas las juntas para que entienda el
No ocupo de venir a ver a todas. Puedo ver la agenda en el internet. ¿Ok? Muchas gracias.
Pero miedo no hay. De este lado no hay.
Study item, if you guys please. Study item, review of draft purchasing ordinance. That will be continued to another council meeting. It was not ready. We move to consent calendar, item 2 through, if you guys please, it's an item 2 through 5. Council members, anybody want to pull any item?
Yes, Mayor, I like to pull these items. In addition to that, I like us to discuss item 9 now and not wait to the end of the night. I like for consent calendar to pull number 4 and number 5. Number 5, this means a whole lot to this community.
Understood.
We've been here a while. We know what this means. And I'd like us to move that agenda item up.
Item 4 and 5 has been pulled by Councilmember Valencia. Anybody else want to pull anything else?
No, I just want to make a correction on the minutes again. On page 7.
Is that minutes on item 2 or 3?
2.
Page 7?
Number 3 are warrants. So the minutes on item number 2. Item number 7 says that a motion was seconded by Vice Mayor, and it's just contradictory. So I motioned that we continue. The motion fell, and then there was, and basically just fell. So it doesn't.
Which one?
It says here, a motion by Councilmember Quintana, seconded by Alvarez, but that was not true, right?
Where?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like these minutes are inaccurate, and it doesn't make sense because it says a motion filed by me, seconded by Alvarez, and then it says that I abstained. So there's definitely discrepancy there.
I guess it was motioned by me, and I don't recall who was seconded by.
Where?
The transit to...
No, it's still wrong though, because even if you motion it, it says to... Okay, that's what I'm saying. So let's just...
I think for the record, she said yes to, she made a motion and that one failed. Then we went to a vote on a motion by the mayor, and then we had a 4-1 vote, but she was able to change her vote. That should be reflected on record.
The motion was by the mayor.
It was by me, but I don't recall who seconded that
I
motion.
seconded.
Second by Council. So everything's correct, just take out Councilmember Quintana and put Mayor Saleh, is that correct?
I think what Nestor's saying is there was a motion to approve that didn't get a second.
I don't think that has to be on minutes, do they?
Yes,
No, that
it
would-
does.
Sure it does.
Yes, it
Yes,
does.
that would be in the minutes if that's what happened.
Exactly.
Yes.
I motioned to approve the item, it failed, and then you motioned to reject it, and it was approved on 4 ayes and 1 abstention.
And I think also that it was requested to change the record to reflect an abstention.
Because of
Yes, with
format.
all due respect to Councilman Quintana and everybody, that's what happened, and that's what should be reflected.
And if need be, you can go to the minutes, we record them, so.
Okay, so we're pulling item 4 and 5. Anybody have anything else on the consent calendar? Seeing there's no comments or question or pulls, is there a motion to approve item 2 and 3 of the consent calendar?
Mayor, do we handle also at this point, the moving up of...
Well, let's finish the consent calendar first.
Very well.
And then we'll see if...
I move that we accept 2 and 3 as corrected by Councilwoman Quintana.
Item 2 and 3 has been moved with the correction. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded. Madam City Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Harder?
Yes.
Councilmember Quintana?
Yes.
Councilmember Valencia?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Alvarez?
Yes.
And Mayor Saleh?
Yes. Larry, can you fix that mic for the council member? Keeps on falling. You got it? You sure?
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, item 4, council member, you want to give us why you're pulling this item?
Well, let's have staff come up, and for the record, this is an important item, and we need to vet through these. So let's have staff come up, and then we go from there. Thank you.
Before Nancy speaks, just one thing to clarify. RSG has been providing these services for a year, and the contract, we're going to modify the contract to show that this is an amendment for another year. It's an amended and restated agreement as opposed to a new contract because they're basically continuing the services that have been provided. But Nancy will go into exactly what the services are.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. As City Attorney mentioned, that this is a continuation of the contract with our consultant, RSG. As you all know, in the past couple of months, because of the dissolution of the redevelopment agency, the city is required to conduct certain businesses that what we call the winding down businesses of the redevelopment agency. And some of those items or services that we need the consultant to help with is to do prepare all the information and supporting documents so that we could submit them to the State Department of Finance as well as LA County Auditor and Controller. They would be helping staff to help in providing the staff service for the oversight board. We have to establish an oversight board, which is almost like another entity that have 7 members, and we have to have meetings, and we have to prepare agendas and staff reports to provide information to the oversight board so that they could review the information to wind down the business of redevelopment agency. So this is an extension of a contract so that they could continue to provide that kind of services to the city. We expect that service to probably go on for another year, and then it should be slowing down because the oversight board meetings will be less often, and therefore we would have less requirements of their services. Hope that answers your question.
Councilmember Valencia?
Yeah, if we had gone with the oversight committee, which involves the community redevelopment agency and the bringing it down per law, if we had gone with the county, how much would that have cost us? With the county running those meetings?
Well, that's a question to ask. Certainly, the county will provide some services. They would supply a staff member and also someone to take the minutes. Yet, we would not be able to control the agenda items that we would like to discuss, because they would be the one preparing the agenda. They would be the one determining what type of agenda items will be put on the packets. And that, we believe, is not in the best interest of the city.
Mrs. Fong, let me see if I understand that correctly. So we have a board, and someone else tells the board what to put on the agenda?
Well, if we use the administrative services, they would be the one preparing the agenda, not us. We would have less
But you have a board that directs those folks to put agenda items. With the agenda items, I mean, I don't want to get into the technicality, Mrs. Fong. You know, my point in questioning this, because you just said that this contract also will oversee, or the services these folks provide will oversee the successor, the oversight board.
Yes.
So I'm just pinpointing that there was some potential cost savings, but we didn't do it because we risk not controlling that oversight that directly affects the city of Bell. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, the
Okay.
county has offered to provide staff support services to oversight boards. The county is not a disinterested party in this, and this is an oversight board that will deal significant property issues for the city of Bell. And the staff recommendation is to continue our longstanding relationship with RSG because we feel that best will look out for the city's interest in going through the work of the oversight board.
I understand that, and I think a second part to my response was, well, wait a minute, you're saying that they're going to control the agenda? Well, what's the board going to do? I thought the boards, like we do, we control our agenda to some extent. I mean, there's business as usual. There should be business as usual over the oversight committee as well. I just don't think that holds any water in terms of an argument that we don't do it because they will control the agenda. I just don't understand that.
Well, in the beginning, excuse me, in the beginning, they already have alerted that we need to only deal with the bylaws and talk about the general, what the oversight board role is, and not even to talk about the most important part of the business, which is to approve the recognized obligation payment schedule. That is by law required to be approved by the Oversight Board and to be submitted to the State Department of Finance. Now, when the city decided that we're not going to use their services, we put those agenda on, and we have asked the Oversight Board to review the recognized obligation payment schedule. And they have many questions, and we have to provide additional supporting documentation to prove that it is a recognized obligation. So we are supplying the information, and with the help of RSG, to demonstrate that that is a truly recognized obligations that needs to be paid back.
And I appreciate that, Mrs. Fong. I do want to stick to the agenda item, which is the contract, and I don't want to, skew it by going into the whole oversight board thing. That's a whole different gorilla. I understand it. But what I appreciate is the discussion we're having right here, and it's going on record and not in a consent calendar, and that's why it was pulled. Okay? I appreciate you coming up here. You were going to say something?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to add that we've already had 2 oversight board meetings within a week period of time. And just to give you a flavor, because we had one item that had a 4-3 vote. So it's certainly, there have been a lot of different opinions, but certain things that the city was trying to make sure there was funding for included improvements for the mobile home park. So we were trying to make sure that there'd be funding there for that. There was a controversy about that. There's an $11 million loan that the city made to the agency. We want to get that repaid to the city. There was a controversy about that. The majority voted that those should be debts that we proceed with. So absolutely, at the end of the day, the board's going to vote on these things. The board does have the final say, but just as the preparation of agendas, the preparation of staff reports, the framing of the issue, what the issue is, just as staff has a lot of influence over your agendas as they come forward. You have the final decision, but staff frames the issues, explains what's involved, does their homework as what the issues are. The concern is that if the staff of this entity is not your staff, but the county staff, they might not look into things the same way, they might not frame the issues the same way, they might not make the same recommendations. So I think the reason that your staff has decided that it's worth this amount of money is we're talking about tens of millions of dollars, and the county, if this money doesn't come back to the city, it's going to go to the county and other entities, and to have the county writing your staff reports seems a poor idea to protect the interest of the city of Bell. That's why the staff has gone this way, and there is a need to have the consultant like RSG available to deal with that, because we don't have sufficient depth of staff available to deal with the issues.
Mr. Elshauer, I appreciate that further explanation, but I'm now even more glad that we're having the discussion and not, in the consent calendar, and that's my point. Even though it's only $25,000, I think it's still significant and good government to put it out here.
And that money's coming from the redevelopment fund, right? Not from the general fund.
It does not come from the general fund.
I'm happy we're having this discussion.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any other comments or questions? All right, is there a motion to approve item 4?
I'll make the motion to approve item 4.
Item 4 has been moved and seconded. Madam City Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Harper?
Yes.
Councilmember Quintana?
Yes.
Councilmember Valencia?
It's on.
Vice Mayor Alvarez? Yes. Mayor Saleh?
Yes, we move to item 5. Councilmember Valencia.
Let's have the staff put that.
I'll respond to this. This item is the direction to the city engineer to prepare the annual city engineer's report on citywide assessment districts. Like many cities, the city of Bell funds certain services through various property assessments that are billed with the property tax bill. Historically, in the case of Bell, there have been, for many years, 4 separate assessment districts. One for landscape and lighting, as the name implies, that funds park maintenance, street landscaping, street lighting. One for the sanitation sewer, that funds the city sewerage pipes in the ground in terms of the maintenance of the sewer system. And the city has had for some years 2 assessments related to solid waste, one for recycling and one for garbage collection. The law is such that before the council can act on and adopt these assessments and place them on the property tax for the property tax bill that will come out this fall, is that an engineer must prepare a benefit assessment report that identifies the amount of revenue needed to serve to meet the service demands that are being funded from that, and then to apportion that revenue among the different property owners. So this is the first step in a 3-stage process. Tonight you are directing, as you did last year at this time, as councils all over the state are doing, or directing the engineer to prepare a report that will come forward to presentation at a future council meeting, and at that point the report is presented and a public hearing is set for the public to comment on the proposed assessments. We have the public hearing scheduled for July 18th, excuse me, so that that would be the opportunity for the public to comment and for the council to take action. The major distinction this year is that instead of coming to you with 4 assessment district reports, There will be 2 because with the direction the city council has taken with the new solid waste RFP, the city will no longer be assessing on the property tax collection for solid waste and recycling services. That will be a direct bill between the refuse hauler and the customers, be they commercial or residential. So you're directing the engineer to start the process to bring you the information and bring the public information on what the assessments for the sewer and landscape and lighting districts would be next year.
Thank you, Mr. Croce. Just want the public to be clear that this is not necessarily a potential increase. This is not necessarily would result in a potential increase to our assessment.
Not necessarily. No, in fact, I mean, without going through the legally required assessment report, our preliminary look is that we believe that the sewer assessment will remain flat at its current level, and we believe if the city council accepts the recommendation that the city change its street tree trimming policy from every year to every 3 years, that there could be a 12% reduction in the landscape lighting district assessment.
Correct, and that was the recommendation, not to trim our trees every year, but every other 3 years, or something like that, right? Now, there's 2 other assessments that are missing here, and I think one of them is the waste rubbish. Did I miss it here? No, we've got 2 assessments here.
Garbage and refuse and waste management.
Right, now that is not in here because we're gonna vet through an RFP process for that,
Through the RFP, the council established in the RFP that the revenue to pick up trash and do recycling will be financed directly by billing from the waste hauler to the residents and businesses of Bell. So the city will no longer be assessing property assessments for those 2 services.
Thank you, Arnie, and that's a real honest answer there. I appreciate that.
Any more comments or questions on item 5? Seeing there's no more questions or comments, is there a motion to approve item 5?
I motion to approve item 5.
Item 5 has been moved. Is there a second?
Ladies first.
I'll second it.
Gentlemen. Moved and seconded. Madam City Clerk, roll call.
Yes.
Councilmember Quintana?
Yes.
Councilmember Valencia?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Alvarez?
Yes.
Mayor Saleh?
Yes. Councilmember Valencia has requested that we move up item 9B or item 9A and B.
I see them as 2 separate items, and I'm glad to entertain both items, A and B, to be moved up.
Is the council okay with moving up those item 9A and B? Are you okay with it, Councilwoman? Okay. Are you okay with it, Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Item 9A and B has been moved up. Police service, update on provision of police service to Cudahy.
Yes, Mayor Saleh and members of the City Council, on item 9A, I'll give a summary on the status of the discussions with the City of Cudahy. On March 21st at your council meeting, the City Council appointed Vice Mayor Alvarez and Councilmember Valencia to a committee to work with myself and Police Chief Belcher and respond to a request for a proposal for police services that we had received from the City of Cudahy for the City of Bell to provide police service to Cudahy. The Cudahy City Council has also appointed a subcommittee of 2 council members, the mayor and a council member. We have had 2 meetings of the council subcommittees and the city manager of Cudahy along with Bell City staff since that March 21st meeting. At the first meeting, we basically understood what the police service needs were from the city of Cudahy, what they would be looking for in terms of service, what aspects of their current service were they unhappy with, so that we could prepare and gather enough information to know what their needs might be. At the second meeting, City of Bell staff, we came back and made a presentation of different options that we thought would meet their needs with various levels of staffing, depending upon whether they wanted basic patrol services or enhanced traffic enforcement services. And we subsequently, after that meeting, there were a number of questions that came up, and we have sent a response to those questions to the city of Cudahy. I have made copies of the document, the response from the chief, available to the public as well. So we had outlined those proposals. The city of Cudahy had indicated that they would be discussing that at their council meeting last night. I did talk with the city manager from Cudahy this morning. The item was not on their agenda. He, having just returned from 10 days in India, had not had sufficient time to analyze the response to the that the city of Bell sent to Cudahy. So the status of the meetings, based upon my discussions with Hector Rodriguez this morning, the Cudahy city manager, is that they are requesting some additional information from the city of Bell and the Bell Police Department, and they plan to schedule a special council meeting sometime prior to the Bell City Council's next meeting on May 16th, so they can give us a response. I do anticipate that we would have another meeting between the two council subcommittees in preparation for bringing this item back on your May 16th council meeting. Also, at your March 21st council meeting, the city council directed staff to prepare an analysis of the estimated cost to the city if the city were to contract for police services with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. A copy of that cost estimate is in your agenda packet tonight. This is a cost estimate that was done by city staff looking at the information on their published public rate schedules from the Sheriff's Department, what they charge other communities for services, and also looking at contracts for the city of Cudahy and the city of Maywood. And based upon the cost estimate here, making an assumption that if the city were to contract for service, the city would want to, as much as possible, maintain apples to apples. That means you would want to have the Bell Police Station continue to be open and accessible and used for the deployment of police personnel as opposed to using a county substation. So taking, kind of trying to look at the current programs, Neighborhood Watch, Explorer program, what would based upon their published rates, what would the Sheriff's Department look like? We estimate the cost savings to Bell above, savings below what we are currently budgeting for next year would be in the neighborhood of $1 million per year. There would be startup costs typically associated, not typically, but the sheriff would have startup costs. They would come in and do an assessment of basically what was necessary to bring equipment and facilities up to their standards, and so that would be included as part of the contract. We have, where we end up with the city of Cudahy and its impact on the city's finances, of course, depends ultimately on Cudahy being the client, if you will, of purchasing services. What level of service do they want to purchase? Our estimate, based upon the what we've presented to Cudahy, is that the savings to the city of Bell, net savings, would be in the area of $1 million to $1.3 million per year in that area. There are startup costs that would be associated with the city of Bell taking on Cudahy policing. That would be, of course, subject to negotiation and discussion as part of the contract.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Mr. Cosi? We now move to item B, Phase 1 study by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office on providing police service to the city of Bell. Councilmember?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, council members and staff, for allowing me this opportunity. Things have changed since I first asked for this opportunity. This really comes to you, council members, and I certainly know that the community is listening. And this I do not take lightly. This decision on our police services and public safety is not a let it go, let's move forward. This is one of the biggest services that the city has. Certainly everybody knows that it's a budget issue that pertains to all of us. It's a budget anywhere from 45% of our budget to potentially 68%, give or take, and, I guess everybody could do their own math on how they're going to arrive to any of those percentages. And by me saying this, I do not take lightly, is because I know I've gotten a lot of flack. I got a lot of flack since the year 96, 94, when I first started coming to this meeting. And no disrespect to those officers back over there. They have, they have a profession on the line here. They still have a profession, whether we agree to continue with them or not. There's nothing personal here at all. Although my friend Leo Briones would think there is.
You're seriously out of order here. There's no reason for that.
I'm sorry.
No, there's no reason for that. I'm sorry.
Mayor,
there's no reason for that.
Mayor.
Go ahead.
I think there is a reason for that.
Well, you want to apologize?
Here's what I'm hearing. Mr. Valencia is contrary to getting a police contract.
Could you
with
give us your
Cudahy.
staff report on what you want, and then we can go from there?
Well, no. I think you need to hear me out, and that's why I put it on an agenda, okay? I think what we discuss here, what we're having here is a leadership problem. We are leaders here in this community for this community, and not for special interests, not for the consolidated.
Please, if you guys can please refrain.
Pardon me.
I'll take a little break because I really need to go use the restroom.
Recess?
Yeah, recess. With all due respect, please, if you could let the council members speak, there's no reason to clap. I appreciate you guys not clapping. You had a chance to speak before this meeting. Peace signs, peace, wave, whatever you want, but please do not clap, okay? I ask you with all due respect, do not clap. Let us conduct our business. Whether you like it or you don't, just do not clap, yell, scream, laugh, whatever you want. But please, thank you. Councilmember, sorry for the interruption. Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I do not take this lightly, not what I'm about to say. And yes, you could take cameras and pictures and all you want. As you guys know, I've been in this community a long time. I'm outnumbered today. I have whole staff telling me we don't want to do this. I have all staff saying, nah, it makes sense to stay where we have. And I keep hearing, let's move forward. Like I was saying, this is a time for leadership. This is not an easy decision. This should not be an easy decision. Mind you, there's other cities who have options and alternatives. They've asked sheriffs, they've asked other city departments to come in and become an alternative for their city. Cudahy, for those people who left early the other time, I've been talking to them even before I was a council member to save the taxpayers some money here and to save some of these good police officers' careers, or if not, excuse me, their jobs. They all have careers after this or not, whatever. They're good people to some degree. But we just heard an officer from the military complain about our police department. And yes, I heard the negative things about the sheriffs too. There's no perfect police service or public safety. There isn't. I get it. But it bestows on me to do good leadership and to have an honest discussion that we have not had here. This may be the second time, this may be the 10th time we've discussed this, but we have not had an honest discussion. And I think this community deserves this honest discussion. We are being marginalized. RISA marginalizes us. There is plenty of people here that could have said something, should have said something, and they didn't when RISA was here. And the guy who did say something, that poor guy, they're calling him a snitch. His career is down the block. So I am not buying this whole, this is what we got, this is what we have to live with. I've never bought it. And that's why Riso came after me, and that's why Rio Briones came after me. He had a client. This is time for leadership. If you guys want to talk, or if you guys want to hear about leadership, I'll cut you short on it. Just listen to YouTube and listen to Arnie back in 2010 talk about leadership in any community. This is a time for leadership, council members, and community. So let me go into this. I want the best services for the best value. Does that mean it's all about shares? No. There's Vernon, there's Bell Gardens, there's Southgate. If you believe some people, it's even Hunting Park. If you believe some other people, they want to tell us to stay away from Hunting Park. They got issues over there. A lot of cities have issues. On the service, on the budget, we've heard many regarding the sheriff's services. I heard it. And what we're hearing here formally in this council chamber, in this council, is don't want to go there. Well, why are other cities considering it? Why can this little city of 95% Latino not have that opportunity? Why? Lots of questions. Helicopter costs. Oh, is it going to cost us for a helicopter? Well, only if we take it. And this answer I got directly from Sheriff Hutchinson from Orange County. I'm not buying this whole rhetoric anymore. Sheriffs is this, sheriffs is that. I'm not. If the sheriffs were here, I'd be telling them the same thing too. I need options. We need options here in this community. There's a question of revenue. Cities, one city in particular, has vetted through and they've determined that long-term and short-term is best to go with the sheriffs. Not only on the fiduciary responsibility, as council members go, because that's what we have here. It's the fiduciary responsibility. And a long-term responsibility. Someone here talks about doing their homework. I'll tell you how I do my homework. I go meet with people. I'm out there till 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, talking to people about good service, good government, and transparency. And I'm not buying it anymore. My wife is not buying it anymore, trust me. She don't like me to come that late. I hear a lot about the questions of grant money. The sheriffs get grant money as well. The sheriffs give back to the community. Why is the Cerritos so happy with them? Why is Pacific Palisades and Palos Verdes so happy with them? Well, you know what? Maybe they have issues there too. But I want the sheriff right here telling me that. I don't want Cudahy telling me that they stink. I don't want anybody here telling me they stink. I don't want anybody here saying that the police department stinks either. Because they don't deserve it. And the sheriffs don't deserve it either. I want an honest discussion from this council. I want truth and fact coming here at this council. It's transparency, it's good government, and we deserve it as a community. It's unfair to the sheriffs.
You had an opportunity to speak beforehand, sir.
It's unfair for the sheriffs to trash them, to say how bad they are, and they're not here. We are vetting through every contract that we can, including the Old Timers Foundation. And what did I hear at the Old Timers Foundation? Reputation. What did I hear about the Old Timers Foundation? Is not the best service. Find something else. We already went through that. Why can't we do that for public safety? We have no control, I hear, is the question. Do we have control over our police department now? Do we have a commission for our police department? Because mind you, and let me be very transparent about this, I want a police commission. I want a police advisory. Something that affects what the community has to say on issues and complaints. Is that going to cost us money? You bet, but we deserve it. We're no longer a small Latino community. We can't think that way anymore. We have an opportunity here that some of us get, and some of us haven't got there yet. But I'm optimistic that we could all get there. As most of you guys know, I'm in healthcare. I don't appreciate an ambulance taking me to community hospital when I'm dying.
Please.
Not every hospital is the same. Let me put a little shout out. You want to get sick? Go get sick at Cedars-Sinai. They won't even ask you what you have or payment. Likewise, I'm telling you, I'm asking this community, I'm asking this council, please look at at every option. Look at alternatives. Not every police officer is the same. Not every police department or police agency is the same. You can't do that. Not today. Not in this world. Not in California. Not in LA County. Not in Orange County. Not in Bell. We are better now. You want to talk better? It's leadership. Tough decisions. Services. We have some complaints about our police department, and we're not being transparent about it. I go to the neighborhood watch meetings, and I don't hear those issues. I don't hear the improvements. They're out there. They're certainly out there, and they're doing the best they can. It's a crippled department, and they're the ones who said it, because we, the city, prior council, didn't invest in our police department. But they sure did get salaries, didn't they? And they may be deserving of that. We want accountability. Where are we going to hold people accountable for the harm this community went through? I've been very, very patient with the community in all respects, and with my council, with all due respect to my council and staff. But we have to reflect that accountability that got us on this diocese and on these seats. We have to have an honest discussion. We have fiduciary responsibility. Above all, sorry my friend Joe's not here today, but you guys understand stewardship. That speaks volumes. This is about stewardship. This is about best service for best value. This is about protecting our youth, protecting our senior citizens, protecting visitors, protecting residents, teachers, schools. This is what public safety does. And I want to hear from public safety agencies. I've heard about the Bell Police Department. I've toured the Bell Police Department. They've helped me. And sometimes they haven't. And I'm scarred. I agree. I will be very honest with you. I am scarred by some of the police tactics. I'm scarred for they didn't come and help me when Robert Rizzo and Hernandez came after my family. They didn't. That's just my fact. But I don't put it on them today. But I am scarred. I'm asking this council tonight that we do a resolution that if you don't want to do a phase one, that if you don't want to go and ask for a free service, for the sheriffs to come in and have them on that speakerphone and us ask them questions honestly and truthfully, that we send them this information that's been compiled with this memo of April 23rd, with May 22nd, with April 17th. I hear the complaints that Cudahy has. They've had them for 2 years, and they haven't done nothing about it. This is why I take the time to go to ICM, Independent City Management, because they have the cities that have the police services there. This is why I go to CCA, Contract Cities. That's where the cities with the sheriffs go. This is why I go to League of Cities. This is why I read up on that stuff, because I want an honest, transparent. I want to get the facts. I want to be able to weigh it. A local city weighed it very well with their current police service, with the Orange County sheriffs, and with another large city. They have options. Why can't we do that? I'm pleading with you, just like Mrs. Quintana likes to do with you guys, pleading with you. We need options. We need alternatives. I'd like for the next meeting that this council put it up for vote, that we have a phase one. And we we want it, in fact, I don't have the resolution because, again, I'm outnumbered. Okay? I don't have the resolution ready here for you. But I want you to hear this, please, from the community. The folks that are not here, they're watching those novelas, watching over my kids. They're working. They need options. People who pay taxes here, that have homes, that have businesses, that send their kids here to this community, they need options. They need alternatives. I'm pleading with you guys. Can you just go and have an honest discussion about public safety?
Yeah, Ignacio there says that you should slap us. Be funny.
I'm taking this very serious.
Yeah, it is.
With all due
Follow-up?
money.
Follow-up? Can
With all
I-
due men. And
Can we?
Are you okay? You're done? All right.
Okay.
Seeing, any other council members have any questions?
I do. I have a question. I didn't realize that I was in the habit of pleading, but since I do plead, I want to ask you, what more do you need? On April 4th, 3 meetings ago, we filed a motion, all of us, and I think you supported it, and that we would go forward and continue analyzing all options, and that we would not proceed with the Bell PD until all options were explored. So, I mean, if we already decided that we're going to explore everything. So we already decided that we're not going to agree with the Bell PD until all options are explored. So I don't understand. I mean, you said...
Well, first
hold
of
on,
all-
wait, I'm not finished. This is the part that I'm kind of confused, because you sit on the subcommittee. You are involved. Like, I actually have to rely on what you say and what Violeta says. And the only way that I can get a guarantee that we're going to have a fair discussion is by filing a motion saying that we will not proceed unless we see all options. And that was already approved. And I do believe, and I don't have the minutes with me, that you agreed with that. So, I mean, I just don't understand what more do we need, because I'm in favor, I think all of us will not. I don't think there's anyone in this community that will be in favor of signing anything until we see all our options. But let's get on with the discussion, or else we're never going to get there. No one is going to sign a Bell PD. I mean, I personally am not going to sign a contract or approve a Bell PD until options are explored. But we already voted on that. All of us did. All of us agreed. We created a commission. We created a commission to do this analysis. So with that in mind, I'm going to defer to the city manager, who has been participating in there, to offer us a recommendation. Because again,
Let me answer your question.
You seem to be in disagreement.
Let me
She's
be
in disagreement. so I'm
in the
going to
discussion.
defer to
Things
her.
change. Things obviously change. And
But the thing is,
maybe
okay,
what you didn't
let me
hear
finish.
is that, no, I think,
I'm not finished, though. The thing is, when it comes to democracy, you can't just change your mind when things don't rule in your favor. That's part of the reason why there's fines.
no one's saying it's
there's-
against my favor. Pardon me, I have to
But
stop
I
you
don't
there,
understand why,
Councilwoman.
if we voted on it, and then we have to bring it up again, and then we have to bring it up again. It's
No,
like
what
after a while,
we brought
vote on
was that
this.
we go to Cudahy. There's no doubt about
No,
it.
we never voted on Cudahy. We never voted on
Can one
Cudahy.
person speak at a time, please?
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at. It's like
You
we...
spoke and you spoke and you spoke. Nobody
it's my
cut you
turn.
off. Let her speak, please. With all due
We
respect.
never, and you know what, I'm going to defer to the city manager because he's been involved in this participation. I'm going to follow his lead. But I do want to clarify that we have never gone with Cudahy. We haven't even seen all the options.
I just want to
Okay.
clarify the action that the council took in April, and that was, there were a couple of motions. The one that was approved was on a 4-1 vote to form the committee and proceed with responding to Cudahy's request for proposal, and to direct staff to prepare a staff analysis of the Sheriff's Department, estimated Sheriff's Department costs. So that was the motion that was approved 4-1 by council. We have obviously had the meetings with Cudahy and have presented you with the staff analysis.
Thank you, Arnie.
And as of now, the time frame that we have is how long before we have a resolution?
Well, I can only go on what the city manager of Cudahy told me this morning. He said he understands that we need a response and that they are going to schedule a special meeting prior to the Bell City Council's next meeting on May 16th.
Let me remind this council that we did have a discussion, we did have those votes. Let me remind the council that we're talking about alternatives here. One alternative does not make alternatives, okay? We've talked to Cudahy, and what I'm hearing, and I think that some of the residents I've been over there, is not optimism. okay? What I'm hearing, if I could be very transparent, is, you know, a couple of council members wanting concessions. They want us to hire people from Maywood, for heaven's sake. You know, that's part of the deal. Since when does that become part of the deal, that we hire people that they tell us to hire? Isn't that the sheriff's job? The chief's job? Okay? So, did we go down that path? We are down that path. There's nothing wrong with going out into their paths, and I've said this all along and very consistently. They're not offended. They're here to save money. They're talking to us to see if we could save money. We're on the same path to save money. There's no inconsistency of what was said before, what was done before, and today's. What I'm doing now, however, is pushing the issue, because we seem to be stuck on one service. That's the Bell Police Service. No, we're not even Cudahy. Well, you know, if we're not, then why are we not looking at the sheriffs? And I'm not just saying sheriffs. I'm looking at Vernon. I'm looking at Bell Gardens. I'm looking at even at Southgate.
We are looking at, the city manager just told us that we're looking at other options.
We are not looking at them here, Councilman. With all due respect, I'm not going to hear it from staff. I want what I said earlier. I want that sheriff to stand right there and tell me what they're about. I want to see Vernon right here and tell me what they're about. Okay? And I hear Vernon could very much appreciate them, because they're not going to do it for free. Okay?
Please.
My point is, there's no inconsistency to this council and what we're doing, and we're not offending council, and we're not being inappropriate to go and do this with other agency. We have a fiduciary duty. We have other alternatives that we're not vetting. I mean, how clear can I make that?
Let me try to, again, understand the passion and the interest around this, and listening to your discussions. I mean, there are, like with so many issues of public policy, there are so many different ways to approach this. And I think perhaps a fundamental question is, you know, does the council majority want to try to continue to maintain the City of Bell Police Department and do that in a way that's financially responsible as a highest priority? That's a legitimate public policy decision. It's also a legitimate public policy decision to say, you know, we want to just look at every single alternative, and we want to evaluate all the alternatives, and, you know, we don't have any, you know, interest in saying we want, you know, we'd like to save the Bell Police Department. We just want to look at all the options. So I think that, you know, from just listening to your conversation, I think that's kind of a fundamental discussion point. You know, is the interest in maintaining the Bell Police Department in a way that is much more cost effective, because you've looked at the budget numbers and you know that if there's a you know, if it's not cost effective in terms of being able to do something with the city of Cudahy in this place, I mean, that's the only thing that's on the table, that the, you know, the options are to, you know, then look at other providers or make drastic cuts either in the Bell PD or elsewhere in the city. So, but I'm kind of hearing this fundamental question.
Well, Mr. Corsi, let me remind you this, that we went first to Cudahy, and they said no. That was the resounding thing. So then if we don't go to Cudahy, if Cudahy doesn't start discussing with us, then we make some severe reductions. And then Cudahy came around, okay? Now, you know, Mr. Corsi, that I had a lot to do with that, for them to come around, because that's just an option. It is a viable option. We know that. We have other viable options. Okay, the whole fundamental policy question is not, do we disband the Bell Police Department? Do we go with them? Do we not go with them? That is not the policy that's today. That's the political agenda that someone has decided to put out there. That is not good policy. The good policy is that we look at alternatives. That's good policy. That's the question. Do we have options here? Do we have alternatives? That is the good policy question. I don't buy that is, do we go with them? Do we not go with them? That is not the question. That is not. It's alternatives, sir.
That is one way to look at the issue, Councilmember.
Well, I think that's a good way.
That you want to look at all the options, but it is a legitimate public policy decision also to say, you know, we want to continue to maintain a service this way if we can do it in a lower cost. You know, that really is ultimately up to 3 members of the council.
We come on here to be good servants, good stewards, good policy, good transparency. All California, including Sacramento, that's why they do things for the city of Bell pro bono, because we want to get to good government and good transparency. What do you think the policy is? Alternatives? Or do we keep that? Do we not keep that?
All right,
I mean, that's not, I just don't see the policy in making that a policy question. The policy question is, can we get the sheriffs over here?
I guess, again, I want to be clear what I'm saying. I think it is a legitimate conclusion for a majority of the city council to say we would like to keep the Bell Police Department if we can get it to be cost competitive. That's a legitimate public policy.
There's no doubt about it. Everybody knows about the 3 majority here and outside of Bell. Okay? I am pleading to them that it can't be just about the Bell Police Department. It needs to be about alternatives and what we do well for this community.
Any more questions or comments from the council? Seeing there's no more questions or comments, is there a motion to approve item 9B?
I like to make a motion that this, on item 9B, that we direct staff to formally contact the sheriffs, Vernon, Bell Gardens, Southgate.
This is just for the sheriffs for what's on the agenda,
That's a good
Councilmember.
point.
So, what is your motion?
I make a motion, I move that we formally ask the sheriffs to do phase 1. In addition to that, I've moved that we put it on agenda item to ask other cities to put their RFP.
I think you need to separate those two motions.
Very well. Okay, I will.
Item B, 9B has been moved. Is there a second? Is there a second? Item 9B dies for lack of a second.
My second motion is that this council direct staff to approach other public safety, including Vernon, Bell Gardens, Southgate, to come and do an RFP process. How else can I make it?
Legal counsel, could that be moved?
I have a question. Didn't we do this already?
Yes, yes.
Can, Mr. Chief Belcher, can you step up?
We have, yes, we have, Chief Belcher has made contact with the police departments in Vernon
I want
and Bell
something formal.
Gardens.
I mean, with all due respect, with sheriffs.
with Huntington
I
Park.
mean, you could talk to me condescendingly. Oh, did we do this? I mean, that's
No. I'm not trying. Look, listen.
I don't think
I'm
that's
not,
very appropriate.
I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm asking for
I
clarification.
think you were.
Please, seriously, can you guys, like, keep the noise down? What? It does not matter. You guys are We'll take
No,
a recess.
no,
I'm gonna
no.
take a recess. I'm gonna take a recess. So regardless, let's get this meeting going. So I was just
Mayor,
advised.
I'm going to retract my last motion or request for motion. Spoken with city attorney. Because we don't have that specifically on the agenda, I would adhere to that and step down. And, with regard to item 9B, I wish to then table it.
No. It's died for lack of a second.
Right, there was a motion. That motion died for lack of a second. He can make a motion to table the item to a future agenda item, but of course there would have to be a
specific date.
second on that.
Do we have to have a specific date on the table?
No, it just gets tabled to whenever.
That's what I figured, yeah.
Either way.
Whenever you pull it back out of the table.
Right. I like to make the motion and to table it.
Item 9B has been moved to be tabled. Is there a second? Is there a second? Dies for lack of a second. Any other motions, council members?
Not at this point.
Thank you. We now move to public hearing. Item number 6, introduction of ordinance amending the zoning code related to yard sale. Staff?
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, tonight we are considering a code amendment for yard sales. As directed by the Council at the April 4th meeting, staff prepared changes to the residential sections of the code to accommodate 4 yard sales a calendar year. Since we are changing the code, we are also doing some house cleaning items like clarifying, simplifying, and adding some languages to make the yard sales regulations easier to understand and also for staff to implement. I'd like to summarize some of the changes. As mentioned before, it will be 4 yard sales a year, which is 1 yard sale every 3 months. We're adding language that the applicant must apply for a yard permit no more than 3 days before the weekend sales. This will make it easier for them. They could do their planning, a month ahead of time, but they have a chance to determine whether it will rain or not. So all they need is to apply for a permit 3 days before the weekend that they plan to have the yard sale. We also add language that the property owner needs to sign on the application form, or they could have the property manager to do that. We also clarified that any personal property that they want to display for sale has to be out of the public right-of-way, which is your sidewalk. It has to be on their yards or on their driveway. We also simplified the language on the hours of yard sales period, and we add a provision that they need to clean up and remove any debris or trash after the yard sale. So the approval of this zoning code amendment would require a first reading and a second reading. Tonight is a first reading. Next meeting, it will be a second reading, and the ordinance will be effective 30 days after next meeting. So the effective date would be June 16, 2012. During this period of time, staff will be preparing new application forms, new flyers, both in English and Spanish, to provide the information to applicants. With that, staff would like to recommend that the council approve this zoning code amendment, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Fung. Any of the council have any questions before I open up the public hearing for Ms. Fung?
Are we limited, I'm sorry, Mrs. Fong, are we looking at 4 a year or more than 4?
4.
4.
1 every 3 months.
1 every 3 months. Any opportunity to do it more than 4?
It's a policy question.
Mm-hmm. Do you see any problems with us doing it, 6 times, 8 times?
Well, then it's a policy question of whether it becomes a business.
Is what? I'm sorry?
It becomes a business. A yard sale is supposed to be incidental to your residential use.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So
if we could tell if they have 100 boxes of shoes, if that's business. We could tell if it's business if the packets that they're selling or the items they're selling are neatly packaged. I mean, won't that be kind of evidence that it's a business versus if they do 6 times, 7 times? What if they didn't have a good sale those first 2 times or the first 4 times? Wouldn't they not want to try to resell it, in another month?
Again, that's strictly a council policy decision. How many times you want to do that? That's not really a question that Ms. Fong can answer. I do think that if you're starting to go down trying to make differentiations here, we are clearly at $10 a charge here. If we're going to be into more active enforcement in terms of inspecting and determining whether this is a business or that isn't, I think we'd want to really take a look at the cost of that.
So then, if I'm hearing correctly, Mr. Croce, if we do the code enforcement on the yard sales more tighter, then the fee would go up, is what you're suggesting?
If we're going to invest more time in and with more yard sales on an annual basis, and the expectation is tighter enforcement, that we will spend more time, and that the fee that is currently being proposed does not cover even the processing fee.
And I think what we heard in public comment already is that some of the residents would like to see more than 4. But that becomes a policy question. All right.
Any more questions or comments?
Ms. Fong, will you clarify, okay, if we have an apartment building that has 6 apartments, how many permits will you give the property?
It will be 4 permits for the property, 1 every 3 months. Through these new provisions, we're going to ask the property manager to coordinate with all the tenants so that they could have the 4 yard sales for the property for the calendar year.
So it's one property, 1 permit per parcel.
1 permit for parcel?
Yes.
Because right now you can go, well, what we used to have was having a permit from apartment A, B, C, D, right?
Correct. That was the practice in the past.
So instead of having what we have now, that is every 2 years, I mean, every
So if you have 6
months, this is to have every 3 months to have a yard sale.
Yes, every 3 months.
Any more questions or comments
you.
from the council? Thank you. And I now open up the public hearing. Whoever wants to speak for or against this ordinance, please line up behind the podium and state your first and last name, please.
Ignacio Marquez, 7027 Crafton Avenue, here in Bell. Well, it looks like the yard sales here is getting annoying too. Have any of you know about how Bell Gardens does their yard sales? They do it, I believe, I'm not sure, I don't want to lie to you. I think they do it like 3 or 4 times a year, but that's the same day for everybody in the cities. That means, let's see, the 1st of January, and then they go to April, 1st of April, and then they go through the 3 months. And that'll be for everybody, so that way, whoever wants to come out and have yard sale, they're free to do the yard sale. So that way, there's no patrolling or us as a city spending time on the patrolling every Saturday on the city looking for yard sales to give them a ticket or stop them for selling it. I would think that would be a good suggestion, so that way they'll know there's only 3 a year, every 3 months, every 4 months, whatever. But that would be a good idea. I don't know. Thank you.
Ismael Morales. I think that the proposal has some, I think there's a problem, and I know that the staff person that was up here said it. There's a provision on item 1C, actually that the permit that has to be with parcels. I think that it's a hurdle. It's bureaucracy, more paperwork, and more paperwork for you guys to deal with. I think it's restricting yard sales, and it's not encouraging yard sales. I think per parcel is not the right choice. I think everybody is a unit, and some people may or may not have a good relationship with their managers. That's all I'm saying. I think that there should be 4 yard sales, and I think that, and then also that says that the $10 that are going to be charged, it doesn't say how is it going to be used. Is that $10 going to go to the general fund? Because I saw a provision that staff is not going to be paid with these $10. I think that is a bit, but that thing about the property owners, I think that is a huge problem. And I think that a council member that comes and tells us that yard sales are not, it's something that is a nuisance, well, I think that's discouraging the community to come together. I know that I said this one time. I know that at the trailer parks, they made a yard sale, a community yard sale, and everybody came out. Does that mean that Now it's it's not this choice, but imagine you would put the trailer park to 4 permits per year. So that means one person, they have to pick out 4 permits. I mean, it's not the choice, but it's just an example. So, and I know that if somebody, and I know who that council member is, who politically, for political reasons, it has to, it's not a nuisance. It is something, but we need to go back and revise that property parcel. It is not okay to restrict yard sales in this city. That is restricting them, and that's giving them an unfair chance for those that have a parcel. So that's all I'm saying is we need, and then if possible, if we can't get those $10, then they should give them a free charge because the economic times are pretty much hard right now. So thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Sonia. My opinion is they want to charge the garage sales $10. I did it one time. I don't make it $10, only make it $9. So my opinion is why they not less to charge. They want to charge $5 or $3. 5 or 3, because we have a lot of rented people in here, a lot of renting people and poor people, and they want to charge but less $10 because sometimes they don't make it $10 in sales. That's why my opinion. I agree for time, but less money for me, because the city, they need money too. That's true. And I agree. In my opinion, I agree in 1 year and a half, they can fix and destroy city. They can't. They need time and relax. I want all you guys relax and communication for us. Thank you very much.
My name is Carmen Vela, and I guess the first time that I speak with you was about the yard sales. I will tell you one experience that I have myself. I work all day long just to get $10. You know what I did the last time? I said 50 cents and take everything, whatever you want, 50 cents. And I say myself, you want to charge $10? No. The city has too much necessity to charge that? I don't think so. You can do better if you check every yard in the front of the curve when the persons plant all those trees, then the people planted, you can charge it, and then you will see. You have more money that way. But you want to charge us $10? No, I don't think so. And now we have the opportunity to have 4 years. Very good. But to ask to the landlord to give me a permit to make a yard sale, I don't think so. Sometimes the landlord, they don't even live here, around here. You're supposed to check real good that place. No charge and 4 times to do a yard sale. A lot of people, they have a lot of necessity. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Vice Mayor, Council members, staff. My name is Mario Estrada. I went on a website for the State Board of California and I researched regarding yard sales, and it specifically says that usually they do 2 a year, and the reason is because there's a sales tax attached to it. So a lot of the people that they're saying, oh well, I need to have a yard sale, and they do get a profit, they should get a license, a sales license, because that's what the law says. That's what the California law says. I don't know if staff has researched what the California law says regarding selling and sales tax attached to it. Another thing, these people are the people that have yard sales. They want to have yard sales every day or every week or whatever. They're really in direct competition with business owners that have a second-hand stores, and they're paying their taxes, they're paying the rent, they're paying their utilities, and these people are really in direct competition with them. So we're giving they're being contradictory. They're saying on one side, oh, well, we need more businesses in the city, but on the other hand, they're saying, oh, but I want to compete against them and not pay what I'm supposed to pay with a sales tax. And so, you really need to research more into this to see if it's legal, not so much legal, but if it's adequate to have more than 2 a year.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Víctor Portillo. Señor Ali, no me nombró. Yo llené un papel y no me nombró.
¿Cómo te llamas?
Víctor Portillo.
Sí, pero tú querías hablar del yard sale, por eso no lo puse hasta que ahorita que estamos hablando del yard sale.
Ok, entonces estoy hablando ahorita para decirles que no está bien que pongan al dueño a que firme o que llene un papel, porque si vive tan lejos como San Bernardino o se anda en vacaciones, ¿dónde lo vamos a agarrar? También queremos que las yardas no sean cada 3 meses, que sean cuando la gente tenga tiempo. Por favor, hagan eso, estén de acuerdo con nosotros, una vez a la vez. Gracias.
I want to address the issue of the yard sales and the sales tax. I believe the people that are holding the yard sales have already paid the sales tax when they originally bought the items. So the fact that California, they're talking about California and the regulations, we all know that California is not in the best shape. And we all know that California doesn't make the best decisions in favor of the taxpayers. So if California is trying to double dip, you know what? The people already paid their sales tax when they originally bought the item, okay? As far as the businesses that it's competition to the local businesses, these people aren't open Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday having a yard sale. They are given the option of having it 4 times a year, which is once every quarter. That is not competition. These are people that are trying to make ends meet, okay? As far as trying to get the permission from the property owner, the yard sale should be permitted to all Bell residents because whether you like it or not, renters pay the utility taxes here. We get money from the renters on the taxes that the city collects. So they should also be given the opportunity to have a yard sale without having to go through the property manager, because I know of a lot of property managers that do not live in the city. This is just creating another obstacle. And I do want to remind you guys that we supposedly clean house from the old council, but yet the old council at least did the courtesy of giving the residents here the yard sales for free for that year, okay? The city makes enough money off of the taxes that you guys collect from all the residents here. I think maybe we should fold on this one because there are people here that are struggling to make ends meet. Thank you.
Mi nombre es Blanca Lozano, yo tengo una tienda de segunda. A mí no me parece que pongan las yardas que den 2 al año, porque yo pago impuestos, pago luz, tengo mi tiempo ahí las 9 horas trabajando ahí, y a mí no me parece, porque yo he chequeado en yardas y no son nada $10 lo que le están cobrando a la persona, lo que yo estoy pagando de luz simplemente. Yo pago por mes $60 de luz. O sea que son $10 por una yarda, que fui a preguntar por un micro que lo estaban dando en $35, mientras yo lo estoy dando en $15 en mi tienda. Entonces a mí no me parece de que les den permiso a las personas tanta yarda, porque eso es un negocio. En cada cuadra está una yarda y no es el primo, el sobrino, la amiga se juntan y hacen un patio grande de yarda. Vienen de otras ciudades a poner las yardas aquí, a ver. Y yo pienso que no es justo que pongan las yardas 4 veces al año. Yo estoy de acuerdo que sean 2 y que les cobren los $10, que es poco lo que les están cobrando para lo que yo pago de luz, y aparte pago los impuestos cada 3 meses. Gracias.
I don't feel that 4 times a year is excessive, but I also don't feel that what the gentleman said earlier about fixing it like Bell Gardens and having it every 3 months on a regular schedule, for the simple reason is that people move in and out of the city and they move to different areas and they have to get rid of their stuff. And either they sell it or they dump it out on the sidewalk for us to clean it up and leave it abandoned, because they can't afford to move it. So they might as well just have a yard sale and sell it. But they don't always move on the 3rd month of the year or the 6th month of the year. They're sporadic. They move after the holidays or before the holidays or before school starts or after school's over. So you can't really limit the, can't really schedule a yard sale for everybody in the city and make it apply to all of us.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of this council. I'm going to be brief because, again, I believe 4 times a year is a very good time for these yard sales to happen. But now, if there's some compelling need for some of our residents that need to meet and ends meet with these sales, why not open a consignment store? And let's even level even the playing field here with other businesses. Open a consignment store, bring your goodies here, and let's be part of the capital state that we live in. We sell our stuff, we pay our dues, and that's about it. That's what we do. That's another way to look at it this way. 4 times a year, or maybe even entertain the idea of having a consignment store. Other cities just like Huntington Beach do that. They do that, they have a consignment store, the residents come, they bring their stuff in, and of course, there's a sales tax associated with it, or maybe a fee. But again, it's just an idea on that. Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak for or against? Seeing there's nobody, I'll closing the public hearing. Council, any more questions or comments?
Yeah, on section 1C, how practical is that to get a permit from property owners? As I drive around through a city and I see the yard sale, even the ones that are currently going on, I notice that they're what do they call it, multi-family dwellings. And can we extract that from this ordinance?
Councilman, where's 1C at? What page is it on? I've been looking for it since.
Yeah, on 46.
46, page 46.
Got it, thank you. 1C, okay.
The intention's not right. They didn't indent correctly.
That's fine. Go ahead, Ms. Fong.
It's the question I need to answer. A property that have multiple units will also have a property owner. The property owner has a certain property rights. When you are using the land, the property owner has a right to know how the tenants use the land. Having a yard sale is a use of the land. And we have received in the past comments and complaints from property owners that they are not aware of their tenants conducting a yard sale. And because sometimes the property owner want to do the yard sale, now they have lost that opportunity. When you have multiple units, if you have 6 units, if you go by the unit, every one of those units could have a 4 yard sales. That means that's 6, 4, 24 times a year. That could happen, okay, for apartment complex, because each individual unit could have. But here in this case, we're trying to, which is part of the original code. The original code said lot. A lot is a parcel is a property. So we are just explaining it differently, clearer that it is really about a property. I hope that City Attorney could, help me out if that's what the lot and the property means. So, property owner has a right to know how, the land is being used, how his property is being used by the tenant. We are asking them, and we understand that if the property owner is out of the area, it might be hard to try to get him or her to sign on the application form. Typically, we can accept maybe a simple statement, a handwritten note that I give authorization for my tenant to have a yard sale. That is acceptable. Sometimes, if they are close by, they could sign the application form. If it's an apartment complex, the property manager usually are there, and that property manager should be the one kind of coordinating so that the tenants have the opportunity to have yard sales. Maybe they have a group of tenants together, find a date, a weekend to have a yard sales together. And I think that's what the intent of this section 1C.
Well, excuse me, how do we work it out as far as the mobile home parks?
The mobile home parks, again, it's a huge mobile home park. There's a lot of spaces, Again, the property manager would be the one coordinating with the tenants. They would go to the property manager. We like to arrange for a yard sale. The property manager should be taking a survey out to the mobile home park complex and ask, okay, what weekends would the mobile home park would like to have a yard sale?
In other words, there's 300 residents in the two mobile home parks, but you just, out of the 300, you still restrict them to 4 times a year.
Actually, they've been doing it. They've been doing it together lately. I mean, where else can they do their yard sales is on the street level.
If I may, in the mobile home parks, the city is the owner, and we secure the permit, and we have the one day where everybody works together. So it is something that we do manage as the property manager, and it was done by the former property manager as well, that they select a day and have people sign up and have tables out, and so it is coordinated through the property management of the parks. And that's how it has worked with the city-owned mobile home parks, and it's been that way for a while.
That could create problems. I mean, say you were out of town for 2 weeks when 99% of the people decided to have one.
The property manager of the city actually determines when we're going to have them, and we let people know in advance. And we had been doing it the 4 times a year, which was in compliance with what the city was doing for the residents in the other areas as well.
I guess no scenario will be perfect.
No scenario will be perfect, and there's quite a competition in terms of what table you get and things like that. But it is something that we are able to coordinate, and it has worked for that purpose. And as you mentioned, there's about 150 per mobile home parks, and they're not necessarily held on the same day between the 2 mobile home parks.
Good enough. Thank you.
Any more questions or comments from the council? Thank you, Ms. Funk. Is there a motion to approve item 6?
I make a motion to approve item 6.
Item 6 has been moved. Is there a second?
A second motion.
Moved and seconded. Madam City Clerk?
Discussion, please.
My apologies. Discussion.
I'm certainly not opposed to bringing in more or having the residents have that yard sale, but I have a lot of concerns about the property owner giving that permit. Although, while I do understand that they are the owners and they need to know what's going on in their property, I'm just saying this. You don't have to come back, Mrs. Fong. Before I make this vote, I just want to go on the record in saying this. It behooves the residents to talk to the property owner or the manager to do or to tell them that you're going to do a yard sale. That we can't. I don't think anybody can sway anybody that the property owner is their property, right? So, anyway, I wanted to say that, Mayor, before the vote.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, roll call.
Can I be added now that if we're gonna have this ordinance, can we send letters of what is going on to the property owners? Because I know we have a lot of absentee landlords. So there's any way that they can, know that, this ordinance is gonna take place, or
Yes, we can do some notification
to the register?
to the
owner?
property owner. We have access to those addresses, yes.
Madam City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Erb?
Yes.
Councilmember Quintana?
Yes.
Councilmember Valencia?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Alvarez?
Yes.
And Mayor Saleh?
Yes, it's ordered. Move to item 7, amendment to the business calendar. Item 7, amendment to agreement with and progress update by MGO, City of Bell Independent Auditors. I know you guys have been waiting for a minute, but feel for us also. Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, Mayor Saleh and members of the City Council, introduce Jim Godsey, the managing partner with the city's auditing firm of MGO. On August 3rd of 2011, the City of Bell entered into an engagement agreement with MGO, Certified Public Accountants, to do audits for the 3 fiscal years, 2009-10, 2010-11, and 11-12, recognizing that the last audit, independent outside audit, was done, concluded in June of 2009. So the estimated cost to the city for the 3 years at the time of the engagement was $375,000. I think I will let Mr. Godsey explain both two things: what they have encountered in terms of their need for additional funding to complete the audit, and also to give just an update on the status of the audits. Thank you, Mr. Godsey.
Thank you, Mr. Croce. Good evening, Mayor Saleh and members of the City Council. I'm Jim Godsey, partner with MGO. With me tonight is Catherine Brousseau. Catherine is a director who's directly involved in the city's audit. I think I'll start off with the good news. We are substantially complete with the audit for the city, with our field work for the audit of the city for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2010. That was the initial period of time that we were contracted by the city to do the audit for. What that means is that we're in our final review stages. We still have a couple of procedures that we're working on. They are not time-consuming issues, and we don't expect any surprises coming from those. There's always that possibility, but they seem to be pretty straightforward items. At the same time, I'm coming through and I'm preparing, doing my final review, obviously because of the high profile of the city at this point in time. There's going to be a lot of interest in the financial statements, and we're making sure that these things are going to meet our internal standards and all of the professional standards associated with the preparation of the financial statements and, in our opinion, thereon. Back in middle of February, it became clear to us that because of some of the issues that we had encountered during the course of the audit, which, as you recall, was back in, I think it really kind of kicked in August, September of 2011, was when we became actively involved in the process. There had been some time prior to that. But between that point in time and the middle of February, it became clear to us that our original plan, as far as conducting the audit, was going to require some additional time. It wasn't a change of scope. It was a change of our estimates as amount of time to accomplish that. It was at the end of February that I came through and met with Mr. Croce and explained to him those concerns and provided him with our estimate on, I think it was the 9th of March. I provided him with a letter summarizing some of those areas and identifying what we anticipated to be our expected additional cost above the original estimate of $180,000. That estimate was, at that time, was $80,000. If we go back and look at the primary items that have caused us to, or resulted in us taking a little bit longer than we originally anticipated, they fall into several categories. One of the things, and of course when we originally provided the city with our estimate back in, I believe it was May, June of 2011, we certainly were not as familiar with the city as we are today. We'd certainly been aware of a lot of the publicity that the city had received, a lot of the issues that had occurred, and that certainly impacted our original estimate. But when we got here, we realized that there was a significant, one of the areas was a significant changing in staffing. And I can go through those as you would like us to. But almost at every one of the key levels within the city, starting out with, of course, we had a brand new city council, and of course we had taken the time to meet with each one of you and discuss your concerns, our concerns. We also had significant changes within key people. In some cases, we've had 2, 3 changes. We've got the group that we're working with right now have been everyone. Now, let me clarify that. Everyone that we've worked with in the city has been outstanding. The level of effort, the level of commitment to this audit process, I have absolutely no complaints about. It's just that they didn't have the background. They weren't here during that time. So we went through and that training, that level of transition from person to person, it's taken a little bit longer. They needed to get familiar. We needed to spend extra time familiarizing that with them with what we had already done, some of that background information. There were any number of complexities in the issues that we've dealt with, many of the transactions. Of course, you all are very aware and very sensitive to some of the lawsuits with former members of management. There was a lot of contracts, agreements with them that had to be understood, had to be documented, reviewed. And so those are first-time items that required additional time. The documentation itself, overall, the records of the city were adequate, but I think in many cases it required additional time, a second request, third request, to go out and try to find some of those records. What happened, at least in part, is we're probably the 3rd or 4th sets of auditors that have been in here since everything became very public. And I think in the process of providing records to the district attorney and to some of the other investigative groups, those records have been pulled out, they've been refiled, they've been set back, reset, refiled. So when we coming through and requesting that information, it was again a burden on city staff, but it also took extra time for us to walk through, confirm that we had the correct documents, request that information, in some cases multiple times. I think you're all aware, of course, that we had, as I mentioned, the multiple investigations from different governmental groups. We've spent a great deal of time with the State Controller's Office going through their processes. We've got a number of investigations from the Internal Revenue Service. And we've also spent quite a bit of time with the district attorney. I was actually very pleased with the openness and the access that the district attorney provided to us. It has really been very helpful in understanding and getting our hands around exactly what they feel, anyway, were some of the issues that were taking place, and confirmed areas that we needed to spend extra time with, and also give us some comfort in other areas that we didn't need to go as far. So those are the primary drivers of this additional time. Again, I'll come back to where we're at today. We're at the very end. I've got a meeting with City Attorney scheduled. We've got a few more clarifications on some of the legal letter items. We've received the legal letter. We still have to make that final determination as to whether how many of those items are in fact liabilities that we're going to recommend they be recorded in the financial statements versus just disclosure items would be part of the contingencies. We've got a couple of confirmations outstanding with trustees, the bond trustees. Those are critical items that we still need to get some definitive answers on. Our next and big step now is as I complete my final review and we go through our firm internal review to revise those financial statements, to get that draft in a working order where we can then share that with management, give management the full access to that, make sure they are comfortable with everything that's in those financial statements, make any final changes to that, and then at that point in time, we'll be issuing our report.
Thank you, Mr. Gotzi. If the council's okay, I just want to say a quick word. I remember that day as it was yesterday. It was kind of a very exciting meeting also that day that you came over here. And I did mention to you that I felt that the amount that you were charging us was very excessive at that time, and you said that you don't see it exceeding that amount. Let's put the contract to the side. It's what you said to me at that meeting. You said that you think that that you guys don't feel that it'll go over the amount of 400,000. And I'm sure it was Ken Hampion that was sitting, that he had just gotten the job to be a pro bono city manager, and he said that was customary of what you guys were charging, because I didn't want to accept it at that time. But now you're asking for $85,000, exceeding that amount, and I hope you would think twice before that. Kind of work with the city of Bell. If anybody knows our financial situation, it's yourself.
Right.
You've seen every number, every dollar, every cent that is on there. And you know that we are in a financial burden, and $85,000 is not chump change for the city of Bell. It's a lot of money. So, I understand the contract was signed, and the contract is probably in your favor or whatever the case may be, but I also ask that you think about it and see what you can do to help out the city, the community, and at the same time, this is beneficial for both sides. And I think I really ask that you think twice. I personally don't feel that we should be paying another. I'm going to say 100,000 because it's closer to 100 than it is to 50. So another $100,000. So bring from 400,000 up to almost $500,000. It's not there. It's a little below $500,000, but it's a lot of amount of money. And I ask Mr. Gotzi that you think twice about this, and I plead to you for our community that you do whatever you can. But let's see if the council has any comments. Council members?
Mayor, with all the respect, it's usually customary that council get heard and you the presiding
I
officer.
asked you if you guys please accept.
Well, since we're all on the same page about worrying about how much money we're spending here in the city of Bell, have we taken a tour of all the records and everything? We know as council members, I don't mean to defend this man, but we all had meetings with him, and he heard an earful from me, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
I think I gave him shell shock, or not.
I had my hard hat on that.
Right.
Day, so it's okay.
But my point is that Ken Hampion was right about it. It is customary. It's also very customary that these occurrences or variances occur. And I don't mean to defend this, but this is a viable and very, very useful service that we are taking from the certified public accountants. And I don't have any real questions for you, but I have this one question, excuse me. You say in your letter here of March 9th that you're waiting for permanent qualified individuals in those positions. And what positions were you referring to specifically?
Yeah, what we were talking about there was in those key positions.
Can you get closer to the mic?
Those key positions
I'm sorry.
within the city. Primarily what we're talking about here is your, I don't think we have at this point in time a permanent accounting manager. You're the equivalent of your CFO, Chief Financial Officer, those type of positions. That's what I was talking about before. We've really dealt with, over the last 6 months, we've probably dealt with 3-4 people that have been in those positions. And it's not anybody's fault. You had some volunteers in there for a while to get this thing going quicker. You had some temporary people in that now you've replaced, gone to the next level. It looks like it's going in the right direction.
Sure.
My concern is not, we're going to get through this current year. There is some additional time. The concern, and I think maybe this will help, 2 points. Number one, that additional request for additional time, that is substantially reduced from what the rates we quoted you originally. I've got a lot more time already in this than I've asked for any type of additional reimbursement. That's number one. Number two, that number that we have that we originally projected for the 3 years, I don't want to give you false information or false hope. But even with this additional amount for the first year, it's conceivable that some of that will still be recovered over the 3-year period of time. That's my hope. But the staffing has to settle down. And if we've got good people, or the same people in the second year, which would be 2011, and in the third year for 2012, so from the city side, you've got that continuity, and we're not training new people. We're not giving that, historical knowledge to them and spending the time to do that. That's going to improve this process. There were a tremendous number of issues that existed in 2009, 2010, the 2009 impact in the 2010 financial statements that I'm sure you, and certainly I would hope, are not going to repeat themselves. And that's why originally our estimate was something in that, high range for the first year, a significant reduction in the second year, and then a continuing reduction going into that third year. That's assuming you all are going to go back to hopefully being the city of Bell, that you all know, and that the typical type transactions associated with that. Currently, you're going through negotiations on how you're going to handle your bond payments. You've got litigation, significant litigation. You've got property out there that you're renegotiating. As part of the financial statement audit, I'm not the attorneys. Obviously, the attorneys have to do that heavy lifting as far as the legal aspect of that. But I have to understand that. Because if I don't understand that, if my team doesn't understand that, I'm not in a position to make sure that those financial statements fairly reflect all of those transactions that take place. So I'm hoping that those types of items are not going to repeat themselves. I know they didn't repeat, or I'm fairly comfortable they didn't in 2011. Anticipate that they will not happen again, or similar items will not happen again in 2012. That will significantly simplify that. Will we be able to come through and recover the extra amounts that we're requesting for the first year? I don't know. We can get to the full amount. I think there's at least a reasonable expectation that we'll be able to recover some of that in the second and third year. That's my hope.
Mr. Gotze, is this going to be enough? Are you conservatively estimating this is what it's going to be in and all, or are you, being very accurate about your account? I just want, or your fees. I just want to make sure that we get it close to right or accurate.
Unless there is something completely out of left field that happens in the next several weeks as we wrap this up, that we just didn't have any awareness of, or legal counsel comes through and presents something to us that, is going to be much more complicated, that we're going to have to spend a lot of time with, I'm prepared to accept this no matter how much time it takes me. I will wrap this up for this amount of money that we're talking about here, as far as that 2011 number, 2010 number. And if it takes an extra 100 or 200 or 300 hours, our firm is committed to you all to get this done. I do appreciate what you all have gone through. And I tried to communicate that to you when I met with most of you individually. I understand the significant economic strain that you were under. I can't compromise the integrity of the audit. I would love to do this for free, but I'm just not in a position to do that. But I will come through without any reduction in level of service. I will get this done for this amount that we've explained today.
Well, I'm glad you're saying that. I certainly do not want you to compromise integrity. I don't want you to compromise your work and your professionalism. You need to do it right for us. So you heard that already from me. And I understand about the cost.
Thank you.
Any other council member have?
Yes, sir. You said you were near the finish line. How far away is the finish line?
I think we're on the outside. We're 4 weeks from actually delivering the final report. It could happen within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. Then you say that you need an extra $85,000 to finish it up. But according to my figures, you've been here for 8 months. You made $375,000. That breaks down to $43,000 a month. You're saying you need another $85,000 to finish up 4 more weeks of work?
No, the 85,000 was the number that we identified back in February. So I knew in February, and it wasn't all 85,000 from then to now. I wasn't out of the contract. Keep in mind that all we're talking about is that first year. The original estimate for the first year is 180,000. We've requested an additional 85,000, so it's at 265,000 for the first year of the contract. So if you take that X number of amounts divided by the 265 divided by 8 months or 9 months, whatever it's been, that's kind of what it is. But it actually includes the $85,000 was our estimate back in February, knowing that we were probably not going to be done until the end of May, June.
I thought you wanted 85 from this date forward.
No.
Can you provide us with an update, Arnie? Any words?
I asked Mr. Godsey to
Oh,
come
so
and
he's the
provide
one
the
that's doing
update in terms of, I know there's great, as there should be, great interest in getting the audit completed, and it has been. I've met several times with, Mr. Godsey and Ms. Bissau during the course of the audit, and it has been much more complex than anybody anticipated. So I did want to ask Mr. Godsey in terms of when do you think you would be in a position to have a better handle on the what you think it will cost to do the second year's audit?
We'll know that fairly quickly. We're working with, I believe it's Hector, is your new key man, and he's working out very good. We're very pleased with his performance up to this point in time. And I'm always trying to do a balancing act here between timing. I know how important it is for you all to get these financial statements as soon as possible. I'm also looking at it from a cost standpoint. And if I'm in here too soon, and I'm duplicating work and I'm trying to make it go faster, but it's not as efficient. So we had a very detailed, lengthy discussion with him this morning about 2011, exactly when is he comfortable that he'll have the records available for us. So as of today, we're looking at a start date of June 1st.
I guess what I'd like to suggest perhaps is that given that June 1st, the City Council will be scheduled to adopt next year's budget for at June 20th, So I would like to see if we could sit down prior to the adoption of the budget when you have a better handle on the estimates for next year and see if there is a real opportunity to lower the budget for next year.
Be glad to do that.
Any more questions or comments from the council?
Yeah,
See.
Mr. Croce, you haven't received a draft financial statements? Because the gentleman said he would have them ready.
No, they are not. Again, those are what we're waiting for, and I think what we've all been anticipating. So no, I've not seen any draft financial statements yet.
No more questions or comments from the council?
Okay, just point of clarification. So we're expecting to receive the draft financial statements for 1 year and then continuing with the next year come June? Is that what it is? No, right?
That would be correct. Yeah, we're anticipating right now, the initial year was for the 12 months ending June 30th of 2010. That's the one we're finishing up at this point in time. We anticipate finalizing those financial statements and releasing those to the city in the next 3 to 4 weeks, as we discussed. We've been having lots of discussions with city employees about them being ready for 2011, how fast they can get those records. That's what I was referring to a little bit while ago, and they feel that they can have those records available and everything's going to be in reasonably decent shape for us by June 1st. That being the case, we can immediately start and will start the 2011 audit. Now, potentially, there's a reasonable expectation that we could also come through if city management can stay caught up and stay current. You still have the requirement for June 30, 2012. That would be the third year of our contract. Typically, most cities try to do that and issue those financial statements within 6 months after the end of the fiscal period. So our goal today, my goal, would be to have issuing actually 3 years with financial statements before the end of the calendar year 2012. That's aggressive. We're going to get through 2, and we're going to have a significant amount of work done, I believe, on the third year, the June 30, 2012. Whether we can actually get those financial statements issued, that's still a little bit of a question. I'll have a lot more information as we proceed.
And in terms of cost, it would be $375 plus 85 for all 3 years? No.
No, the original, and I don't necessarily have that original estimate. It was, I believe it was 180,000. The estimate was 180,000 for 2010. 120,000.
110.
110.
Yeah, she's right. It's
Yeah.
375 plus 85, a total of
For 3
460.
years.
Okay.
460 for 3 years.
Okay.
So she's correct. So my question is, so you might come back for 2010, 11 and say, you need another amendment? Could be?
I don't see that today. Again, depends on what type of surprises we see, if any. If we don't see any surprises, then I don't think we're going to have a problem. If there's multiple staff changes, if we still have staff turnover and key people are not available to us, there's always the possibility that I would have to have an amendment. I don't anticipate it at this point in time.
That's exactly what you told me the last time. We don't have surprises in the city of Bell. Come on.
My crystal ball is getting a little bit clearer. I know a lot more about the city of Bell today than I did when I was here back in July.
I don't know.
I
It's
don't
up
even
to the council.
Well, you're part of the council too.
All right, any more questions or comments? See, there's no questions.
Would you put it in writing that this will be the last $85,000?
Actually, I was going to say that, but I'd rather...
I would love to. I can't, again, we kind of go back to that integrity thing. I don't want to compromise the accuracy of the audit process. You don't want me to compromise the accuracy of the audit process.
No, but I don't want you to take all our money either.
Well, actually we're not. I would love to say, this is the most profitable audit I have. I can tell you this is not the most profitable audit I have.
But it's breaking us. So
Yeah,
that's what
this
I'm
one,
trying-
I'm
not
hoping
talking about you.
that I can, do a good job of covering my direct costs.
Good enough. If any other council member have any questions or comments? Seeing there's no questions or comments, is there a motion to approve item 7?
I move that we approve item 7.
Item 7 has been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
You choose which one wants to.
I'll second it.
Councilman Quintana seconded. Madam City Clerk, roll call.
Member Harbor,
Yes.
Councilmember Quintana,
Yes.
Councilmember Valencia,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Alvarez,
Yes.
Mayor Saleh.
This is a hard one. Yes. I was going to say abstain.
Talk about
Integrity. We move to item 8, solid waste. Item A, automated container proposal, proposer award.
Yes, I'll introduce our pro bono consultant, Bill Smith, who's been working on this for many, many months. We're getting to some very exciting times, I think, in the solid waste service for the residents and businesses of Bell. Just before Mr. Smith, though, begins, we do have 2 items on solid waste tonight. One is to award a contract for the purchase of the containers. We have a sample here that you can look at. The second is to appoint a council subcommittee to go forward to work with staff and our consultants to evaluate the proposals that have come in and get an update on those proposals. But there were a couple of comments made under the public comment section in terms of questioning why is the city spending $1 million to purchase carts, and I'd like to provide a little bit of background of that. And this is always, I think, one of the more difficult things to explain about government finance is the nature of many funds are restricted and can only be used for certain purposes. In the case of the city of Bell, going back several years, in addition to assessing the cost for paying for garbage pickup, the city of Bell, previous councils and administration, added significant additional collections to the property taxes, and that over time resulted, that excess collection, if you will, over time resulted in a substantial fund balance in this particular fund, the solid waste fund. So the money that was collected per law, per the assessment district, can only be spent for the purposes it was collected. So finding ourselves with a fund balance in this fund of, I think, in excess of $1.5 million, that is the source of the revenue that is used to purchase these carts. There were a couple comments made about, well, why don't we have the company purchase the carts? Well, the company is funded by the ratepayers that pay for the garbage service, and by the city purchasing these carts, we believe that this actually drives the monthly rate down on an ongoing basis, because the companies putting in their bid did not have to factor in the cost of the carts. So we think this is a good, both a good use of the funds that were collected for solid waste purposes, and a way to use those funds to the benefit of the residents by driving down the cost. And then also the third factor here was the very fast track that the city council placed on getting a new refuse contract in place, so you would not have to levy tax assessments next year, and being able to have carts ready to go for July 1 was critical to doing that, and this, again, process allowed us to do that. So with that, Mr. Smith?
Well, thank you, Arnie. Yeah, it's your friendly pro bono consultant here. Good to see you, and good to be back with you. And at your next meeting, of course, we should have the results. Actually, we have the results in, as you know. Closed yesterday on the solid waste hauling RFP, and looks very good. And I'll talk about that at the next at your next item. But I want to introduce Jeff Duhamel, and he'll answer all your questions on this particular item here, on the purchase of the containers. Any questions that you have? If you don't have any, you could just go ahead and vote.
Mr. Mayor, City Council,
I've prepared a report. Staff has reviewed the report and has given that report to you for any questions or comments you might have. I'm here to answer those.
Well, thank you. Council, any questions or comments for?
Well, how much are these totes?
How much are they?
How much are they?
Total of $975.95.
Right. They come out to 40 some odd dollars a piece, 43 to 44, 45. The response, the financial information should have been supplied to you, giving you all the information on all the bidders. But if you line item break it down, it's in the low, $43.50 from Rig, $43.96 from Auto, and $46.96 from Toter. So when you figure the amount of carts, you have to apply the applicable tax, and then you have distribution of the carts, and then you have removal of the existing carts. We changed the proposal slightly in not knowing who owns the carts. It seems to be that the city owns some of the existing carts and the consolidated owns perhaps some of those carts as well. We did not know who owns the carts, but there is a rebate there. All the vendors have offered to purchase the old carts, to grind them up and recycle them because there might be some value. So that could be something coming back once we determine who is the proper owner of the current barrels that are out there right now.
All right, be careful, we may put you in there, okay?
All three of them are going to be that size?
This is the 65-gallon cart, am I correct? This is the 65-gallon cart. The blue one would also be the same size, but the black one would be slightly larger. You can see in my report, I give you the width, depth in inches on the carts. I give you the height and the weight of the containers. The manufacturer is here tonight, but I can tell you right now, the width of the largest cart is 29.25 inches from Toter. It's 28.70 from the company we're suggesting that the council move with tonight. So that is less than your narrowest gate, typically of 30 inches going into a backyard, and definitely narrower than a 36-inch gate.
So it says here that you guys are going to have the city logo on them. What happens if we change our city logo?
I noticed that, yes. So that's something we're going to have to identify quickly. If not, we can just have City of Bell on there.
Is this bin for the grass and?
The green bin would be for the grass, and according to the direction of the RFP that we have proposed, that we would like the haulers to pick up the green barrel for green waste, the blue barrel for the recyclables, and the black barrel for waste residue, given a little bit more capacity in the residue barrel.
I noticed on the RFP for these barrels that it was a 10-year warranty, but I didn't see it in the contract.
I have made sure not only do we have a 10-year warranty, but we have a 10-year warranty bond.
And it's not prorated?
It is not prorated. It is a bond, and there are 3 companies that responded to the RFP of the 7 that I solicited or sent information out to. There was such tight time restraints, only a few could commit to it, and the final 3 vendors were all able to commit. But the driving force to get it down to just a few of the vendors was that 10-year bond, to make sure that in 7 years from now or 6 years from now, we don't know who the company is we're dealing with today. They're going to be there, but we know that that surety is going to be there. And the most important thing is that the city is going to go into a 10-year contract in ownership, but we want to make sure that there's barrels there and carts there for that entire period of time. So the 10-year surety was non-prorated.
And at the time that new barrels are distributed, they'll pick up the old ones and recycle?
Yes, yes. We will not recycle them at first until we find out who owns them.
So we can't find out who owns them now?
Where are you going to store
we are in the process of, we're just finished doing an audit, and then we will go ahead and take a look at that contract. There seems to be some changes to the contract that we haven't been able to get information on.
So
originally the city owned them, but they used funds. The hauler contributed some money towards those funds, as well as the city contributed some money.
So my thing is, maybe we own a majority of them, and then we're here buying another set. And I mean, why don't we figure out what we own before we go on with this?
Well, okay, you only have 2 carts out there, automated. You'd need to buy additional
We could
carts.
just buy the green.
If we don't know who owns those carts, if Consolidated owns those carts and they are not the successful bidder, those carts could disappear. You're out to bid right now with 7 different firms. They all would like to have an opportunity. This is a long-term plan for you to hold that asset and not get dinged on it when CPI increases every single year. As well as if the council so desires in 3, 4, 5 years, they could approach the hauler and say, you know what, we want you to buy the carts from us. Or at the 7-year mark, we want you to purchase those and maintain them from this point on if we go to another contract extension with you. You have a lot more tools in your tool belt by owning those. They're going to be delivered at the end of this month to the city. The vendor is here tonight. They build them in Vernon. It's a union company. 3-week turnaround or less than 3 weeks to get them here so they can get distributed before you award a contract. And when
So my question is, if it's a 3-week turnaround, or let's say 1-month turnaround, we're gonna approve the contract on the 16th?
16th is the schedule, yes.
So, and this new service starts when? July 1st?
July 1st is the
So
target
why don't
date.
we wait until then and put both of these items on the agenda?
you will not have carts by July 1st if you don't make a decision tonight, sir.
What's the difference?
You have to distribute them.
He just said 3 weeks to make them. So say 3 weeks from May 16th, May 18th, May 19th, you're still.
But no,
ahead of
there's other
schedule.
things you have to do. You
3
have
weeks,
to
not
educate
days.
the people. You have to let everyone know they're coming. You have to send information to the residents, and you have to get them to the doors. And we're
May
talking.
16 is May 16 is the day we're going to approve whoever the new hauler is. Okay? So if you calculate, let's not say 3 weeks, let's say 1 month, that's June 16th, and then you got another 10 days to deliver them, you're still before the July 1st deadline.
They gotta be manufactured.
Oh, God, do you not understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
If we approve on May 16, they're saying it takes 3 weeks to a month to make them, manufacture them. So you're still June 16th. So you're still ahead of the schedule of the new starting date of whoever the new contractor is.
No, we're not. He just told us we're not going to get it by
You
July
won't get there,
1st.
sir.
Why? Well, give me a good explanation.
Okay, well, there's first off the bat,
Timing.
out of 8 vendors, 7 vendors we contacted, only 3 of them could commit to the quick turnaround we already asked. It's a very tight schedule. There happens to be one company that happens to be in California. They're here tonight. The others come from North Carolina. So there's manufacturing, shipping, and then it has to be built on site. They snap together, and then they have to be delivered to the residents. Now, if you want to purchase the carts and have them ready for the residents on July 1st, that decision would need to be made post-haste. If you want to have somebody else own those carts, you've got all the time in the world between now and the time you negotiate your contract to have the hauler purchase them from you. But you need to have carts in place. You've got 7 vendors. None of them have bid carts at this point. They were all told the carts would be supplied by the city. We approved that.
Can you come for a second?
Who is he?
He's the manufacturer.
It's a manufacturer.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening. Question, if we approve this on May 16th, can you still turn it around in 3 weeks?
Can you define turn it around for me? Because can they be produced? Can they be delivered to the residents?
You said right, well, what he said is if we approve it today, you need a 3-week turnaround. I don't know what that turnaround means. Does it mean just producing it and then it takes another week to deliver it, or whatever the case may be?
The way we had proposed it and the way we were actually asked to submit this was to produce the containers by May 21st, to have them all distributed by June 15th. We have some flexibility in those dates. I don't feel comfortable committing to any dates without looking at our production schedule at this point. While we do produce them only a few miles away, there's a lot of variables that come into play. There are other projects that we do. Machines go down, things can happen. We were just told to prepare for these dates, throughout the proposal.
I have a question. I don't understand why we're having this discussion again. I mean, one of the things that we discussed last time was that we have funds that can only be used for this. I mean, these funds cannot be used for anything else. And it's either we give it to the community in the form of a $60 check, which they're going to have to give us right back for the trash bin. So this is a way, this is the way that we're giving the money back to the community. Instead of giving them a check and telling them to give us back the check so we can give you the trash cans, let's just give them the trash cans.
No, it doesn't mean that way. I mean, my
That's
thing
exactly what it means.
We
No,
could
it
have gave the
doesn't.
money back.
Exactly. We can give the money back, but then guess what? We have to tell them, hey, buy trash cans.
No, that would have come with the RFP with the waste disposal, potentially. That would have been, but we've already separated. We've gone down.
Exactly. We already did this. So, I mean, to change this would actually require us to go back. I mean, I think the community deserves facilities. I mean, they need to get money back. I mean, I'm not finished. These are resources that were taken from the community. Let's give it back to them, and let's make it easy, because by giving you guys a check and telling you to give it right back, we're creating work for us. And like, quite frankly, our staff has too much to do.
Well, how about if we come to May 16 and they say, you know, majority of those bins belong to the city and majority of the bins in the city are in good shape, and we can keep those bins, and then we come around and say, you know what, community, we're going to give you guys 6 months of free service on your trash because we have all this money and this is the only way we can use it. What's wrong with that? Does that mean that it's wrong, or does that mean that it's a more problem for staff? It's nothing. All you tell Consolidated is for the next, or Athens, or whoever the contractor will end up being, or I heard there were 6 or 7 bids, is, you know, give the community 5 or 6 months down the line paid by this fund.
I personally, this is as my opinion, I'm personally comfortable with having all new facilities. I think Bell deserves the best services possible. If we could get brand new trucks, we can get brand new trash bins. If we can get if we get an order, if we can get the community brand new trash cans, brand new schedule, a service that actually provides all of their needs, and we can get them a tax bill that no longer has the trash bill. If we can get a property tax, if we can give the community a property tax that does not include the fees for the trash cans, and in addition, we have brand new facilities, I mean, I think that's fair. I'm comfortable with that.
Good enough. Any other council member have any questions or comments?
My comment was we did bring up the fact that we could have given the cash back. We elected not to, or we voted not to. I voted to give them the cash back, you know. We are going to have to work with the recommendation to go and move on with this process like now, it seems. I don't know, it's a tough one.
Any other questions or comments?
I don't understand why it's so tough if we already voted on this. We already created a whole RFP process that's coming back with instructions to not include trash bins. I mean, I understand that there's decisions that are difficult to make, but we also have to realize that once a decision is made, going back and forth doesn't help the community.
Any more questions or comments from the council? Seeing there's no more questions or comments, is there a motion to approve item 7A?
I'll motion to. Go ahead.
Hold on, is it 7A or is it 8A?
8.
8A, is there a motion?
A motion to approve item 8A.
I'll
That includes
second that.
both the awarding of the contract to Rarig Pacific and the appropriation of $970,595 from the Sanitation Fund.
I'll second Vice Mayor's motion.
Moved and seconded. Madam City Clerk, roll call.
Yes.
Councilmember Quintana?
Yes.
Councilmember Valencia?
No.
Vice Mayor Alvarez?
Yes.
Mayor Saleh?
No. We move to item 8B, solid waste recycling proposal evaluation.
Mr. Mayor, yeah, this is good news. We got 7 responses, I think, as everybody knows. I'll let you know who responded. Waste Management, that's the world's largest waste hauler company. United Pacific Waste, Crown Disposal, Universal Waste Systems, Waste Resources, Inc., Athens Services, and the current hauler Consolidated Disposal. They're, frankly, I know everybody wants to know what's the number, but it takes a lot of work, and that's why we're here, to ask you to help us with that work, to give us 2 of your members to hopefully volunteer to work with us on this. because it is complicated. Well, I would put it this way, the average weight on these proposals is 5 pounds easily.
It's what?
I mean, 5 pounds of paper. There's a lot of information in these proposals. So it's just not that little number that we all certainly look for. But I would say this about the number, it's good. I mean, if you could pick the highest number there, and you'll save this city a lot of money. That's picking the highest.
We'll save
Pick the
ourselves a
lowest,
lot.
there's a lot more. So yeah, off the property tax will go, and still be reduced no matter what happens as far as your choice is concerned. So again, we're looking for two members. Basically, our time frame again is so short because in 2 weeks I'll be back up here with your that committee's recommendation. And the committee would be the interim CAO, the interim finance director, and the 2 members. And your pro bono and your paid consultant will be working with the group. And we're recommending March 9th that we meet.
March 9th.
May 9th. Sorry about that. I'm a little bit behind. It's a long night. You know better than me. So, yeah, so that's what we recommend, and 10 o'clock would be my recommendation, whatever time you would suit you. Of course, we would
I think we'll check the schedule and schedule a meeting after we get the
Good enough.
the committee.
Mr. Croce sent out an email to all the council asking who's interested, and the only one that responded was Councilmember Quintana.
Mr. Mayor, before that, may I ask some questions to Mr. Smith?
Sure.
Okay. And just for full transparency, we did get an email saying that there were 7, there was an 8th one that got there 2 minutes late, right? And they didn't get to put it in there, put in their RFP. In the RFP, was there a mandatory meeting of March 12th?
We did do that. We had a mandatory meeting in the RFP. We waived that at the very last minute just because of the time frame. And so there was actually one proposal of a firm that didn't make that. But that was waived, and we announced that at that meeting, that it was waived. Yeah.
It was waived, huh? So was there any other corrections or changes to the RFP?
I'm sorry?
Was there any other corrections, waivers, changes to the RFP?
There was an addendum that was passed out at the meeting and put on the council or the website, which was basically the council's direction to us to have a breakout of the actual costs, and that's what the addendum was.
Besides that, was there anything else?
No, there's nothing. That's it.
Okay.
Any more questions or comments from the council? All right, seeing the Councilwoman Quintana was the only one, I guess I'll put myself and Councilwoman Quintana. Oh, you want to be on?
I called Arnie and told him if nobody else wanted it, I'm always available. That's all. I mean, so I did touch base with him as far as
So,
on it.
either do you want me to do it or do you? Doesn't matter.
If you want it, you're welcome.
Any less work for me is fine.
That's an understanding Arnie and I have. If nobody wants it, I'm always available.
Mr. Harbour needs more work. Why don't we give it to him?
I'll do it, me and Ms. Quintana.
No, Mr. Harper wants to know.
He
wants
said
it.
if I'm,
If you want, we will guess. But I'm just letting Arnie, always let Arnie know that I'm available in case you guys reject.
there. Danny said he's there.
he's always the alternate, if that's what you want to call it.
Ms. Councilman Harbour, we need conviction here. Do you or do you not want it?
Excuse me?
Do you or do you not want it?
I'll take it if no one else wants it. That's the way it's all, me and Arnie's always had that understanding.
Good enough. So,
it's
myself.
It's Mayor
and-
Saleh and Council Member Quintana.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I won't argue about it.
Mayor and City Council communications?
I don't. Hold on a second.
Hi.
What were you saying,
Mayor and City Council communications.
Well,
Nothing?
I do want to wish all the mothers happy Mother's Day. It's coming up. Don't forget your mom. I also liked, I had mentioned this before with staff, maybe Mr. Croce could just give me an update later, but I wanted to
get a agenda item on the rotating mayor proposal. And then more recently, an ethics resolution from the city of Bell. We have one that obviously the other council members did not pay attention to, but I think it needs to come to this council, and we should look at that.
Any more questions or comments?
Well, I have an update. A couple of days ago, we received a letter from the American Cancer Society Southeast Cities, which the city of Huntington Park is holding a Relay for Life in terms of raising awareness for cancer. Some of you know my father passed away of cancer, so this cause is very, very, very dear to me. I participated in several marathons, actually walkathons because I don't run, but it's very, very powerful. Cancer is definitely a disease that affects large communities. There's nothing really diagnosed for there. It really is just a malformation of cells. It can happen to everyone. There's myriads. One of the things I was very, very surprised when we did the Christmas drive-along, when we were giving out toys, there was actually some families that are affected by that as well. So what I want to do is encourage, because one of the requirements is to have the city donate an amount of $1,000 or to register as a Relay for Life team. So I know that they're community members, just like myself, who have been victims of cancer. So if we can just get a team of 5, we can have the city of Bell represented there. So any of you guys are interested, come with me. I'm committed already. So I think it would actually send a really, really strong message, and it would be an activity that I think the community of Bell would also greatly support and enjoy participating in.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any more comments from the council?
Well, I was going to mention the same thing about American Cancer Society, Southeast Cities. I would like to put it in the next agenda so they can make a presentation so the community can have an involvement, regarding, Relay for Life from the American Cancer Society.
Any more questions or comments? Thank you. We now adjourn to our next regular meeting.